I'm saying, whose effect is it? Can you do it on mine or?
What effect?
Exactly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know nothing. My eyes are going crazy.
Yeah, no, my camera's good, man. I get fucking sick. Like, I don't even know who makes it. Oh, Logitech.
I've never seen you look so handsome.
Logitech is great.
Yeah, no, Logitech is great. It's just like, this thing's like 720, maybe even 1080.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I think so. I think I look sexy. I mean,
I think you look thinner.
Yeah, it does have a slimming effect. It's this camera. This camera is what do they call that? Portrait mode. Portrait mode gets a better. I look slimmer in that situation. I should probably never do that though, because I look like the gopher in Caddyshack.
Pull out your schween. It'll be twice as big. Zounds!
Oh,
look at that tool.
Perfect.
Neander jackhammer.
What did it take to focus it?
Oh man.
Yeah, we had a good thing going.
God damn it.
Just before the nudity.
I was gonna say I was gonna use that effect myself.
It's not really an effect. We were setting up the camera and I had to adjust something and it got blurry and stayed that way. I was like, all right, fuck it. We'll do the show that way. I don't care enough to readjust the camera a second time.
Do we want to do intro music, Johnny? Or do you want to hum?
Oh, he's not even dressed.
I wasn't dressed. I just realized
I'm not even dressed for the show.
I'm looking at my camera. I'm like, something's missing. And then I'm like, fucking scarf. Okay. Now I'm dressed for the show. There we go.
There he is.
By the way,
it's my costume.
It was 2 minutes and 40 seconds or so when the first F-bomb was dropped.
Was it? No, actually, it was like 30 seconds in.
Why?
You said something.
What did I say? I did?
Yeah.
And we were live?
Yeah.
Son of a motherless goat.
But hey, what is today? August 17th, 2021, 8:05 Eastern, 5:06 Pacific.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Guitars.
Talking guitars and 80s metal live.
At some point, we will talk about all of those things.
We'll get to them.
You may notice that there's a little bit of space back here that normally doesn't exist. I had to mule that shelf. Here's the thing. IKEA claims that the Billy bookshelf, which is what these are, the Billy bookshelf, all right, which they introduced in 1979. According to IKEA, a Billy bookshelf, and I'm not reading this, I just know this because I spent a lot of time on IKEA's website trying to find shelves.
I was just there, actually.
All right, so IKEA says that a Billy bookshelf is sold somewhere in the world every 5 minutes.
Wow.
So it's safe to say that according to IKEA, the Billy bookshelf is very popular. Can we all agree on that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you notice the amount of shelves over here and the lack of shelves over here. The beauty of the Billy bookcase is you can put a lot of shelves in it. The curse of the Billy bookcases, they don't come with a lot of shelves. So in order to buy extra shelves, you either have to mule some from this bookcase over here, or you have to go to IKEA and find extra shelves, which are $15 a pop.
Wow.
So I can buy an entire Billy bookcase, I think, for $59 or $49 or $59, something like that. Or I can buy 4 or 5 shelves at $15 a pop. So what do? You buy another Billy bookcase. Problem with that is now you've got all the shelves that you need and an extra frame from the Billy bookcase. So I decided I wasn't going to do that this time. I have 2 extra frames somewhere in another place. And yes, everybody's going to say, well, why don't you just cut the extra frames down to fit the shelves in and do that? Because I don't want to run a circular saw in my bedroom. Understandable concession. So now I'm dealing with, I had to mule that shelf there that had like a row of CDs on it to go down. If you look down here, there's 2 extra shelves of CDs because I'm running out of shelf space once again. The next move will be, I have a glass cube display thing that you can also get at IKEA. That's beautiful. It's got glass shelves and it's like a little box.
I saw that one. I saw
that. Yeah, and they're cool. They're really cool. But I don't really want to put one together right now to put all that display stuff in it, because if I put all that stuff in that glass shelf thing, I'll have another entire bookcase to put more CDs in. Unfortunately, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4 shelves. So I'll have all that space wide open, and I can't deal with that from an OCD standpoint. So
I know what I'm getting you for your birthday now.
So, yeah, I mean, while people are hanging on to C-17s trying to say that I would rather fall off of the belly of an airplane than spend one more moment in this shithole of a country, these are real problems.
They're real problems for us, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm dealing with.
I didn't see anyone falling off a plane with armfuls of CDs. I mean, you obviously have a storage problem. They didn't.
Right, clearly. You know, when you're running and grabbing hold of the landing gear of a C-17 trying to hang on for dear life out of the country, you don't have a whole lot of room for trickster.
my Ingves.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Let's look at horrible CDs that I shouldn't have to take with me.
You shouldn't have any of those.
To the grave.
Look, Johnny, just because I have a very vast musical knowledge, palette, and landscape from which to draw to contribute to this show, not every show can be Van Halen for 4 fucking hours every night. Much as you like to make that happen.
Jimmy Ray Hawkins brings up a good point. Where are you going to put your Tracy Lords, Christy Canyon, and Peter North videos?
You know, you joke. I have several of those. I found out. I didn't realize at the time. No, my uncle used to run a video store in the 80s. So he had the cool room with the curtain that we all went to. and in 1986 or 87, when Tracy Lords movies were pulled off the shelves, I immediately visited my uncle's store before he closed and saw my cousin who was working behind the counter. I'm like, Jimmy, I got to go back there and do a little reorganization. He goes, what do you mean? I go, well, you're going to get an order coming down that says that certain movies are not allowed to be rented anymore. I got this. Don't worry about it. I got it handled. And my buddy went to high school with Christy Canyon. Real name, Melissa Bardis-Banian.
And I have met her in person outside of show business. I've been
Missy
to her
Bardis-Banian.
house.
Yeah,
she's very nice. She's a normal mother, and oh my God, she's like that woman you want to meet at the PTA meeting.
Yeah, no, she's beautiful and she's smart and she's obviously done things that just remind you of your special purpose.
She's had Ron Jeremy in her.
Speaking of which, we should probably acknowledge the passing of the legendary Victoria Paris, who died at the age of 60. Victoria Paris was she was an it girl for a while. She was what's the girl's name that she was the girl that's the complete nightmare that is still making movies, I think, every once in a while. She was her girlfriend.
John Biel.
Yeah, I can't remember. Not Terry Weigel, but Tori Wells. She was Tori Wells' girlfriend for a long time. If you Google Victoria Paris, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. She had the perfect cocaine nose.
Nice.
It was seriously like, if you look at her nose was literally set like that. It was just like, where's the blow?
She had a nose made for coke and a face made for cum.
Yeah, no, she was gorgeous. Make no mistake about it. She was gorgeous. Her real name was Sheila. And I know this because I had her on my radio show in the 90s. when I was on a station called WMFS in Memphis. So I have her on the air, and I've got Victoria Paris, porn star, on the air, and we're doing the frozen T-shirt. Which, for those people that don't know, it's you take a T-shirt and you soak it with water, and then you freeze it and take it out and make somebody put it on. Of course, on the radio, it works great. Yes, R2, R3, Locking Up. She looked a lot like Morgan Fairchild.
Nice.
And so
yeah,
I
they're
got
looking
her,
like Tracy Morgan, so definitely good thing.
all I know is someone's getting bukkake. So I got her in the studio, and I'm there with the guy that was on at night after me, and we're like, and it's blah 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 blah. Coming up next, we're gonna have Victoria Paris in the frozen T-shirt. We'll be right back. And I go to commercial. Hotline rings, and I pick up the phone. I was married at the time. I pick up the phone. Hello? She goes, "Hey, is her name Sheila?" And Victoria Paris looks at the phone and goes, and so Victoria Paris looks at the phone. She goes, "Well, yeah. Why? Who's asking?" She goes, "I work for Pat Weber." Moment lost. Sheila Parrish and my Sheila, her real name is Sheila Morey or something like that. Victoria Paris and my wife suddenly, "Oh my God, Pat Weber, how is he? I used to work for him. Oh, he's so good." I'm like, "What the fuck is going on here? You guys I got a porn star who's about to put the frozen T-shirt." Meanwhile, we're at commercial. I was at commercial. So this little thing goes, I go, look, I got a minute. I got to go back. We're going to be back in. So she goes, "All right, I'll hold." Like, what do you guys?
I need you to talk about inhaling salamis while your nipples are hard like ice picks, chiseling through that shirt.
Unbelievable. So my wife at the time and Victoria Paris are having this amazing conversation about this guy, Pat, that she worked with, that I guess Sheila was his secretary at one point when she lived in Montana or some shit. She went out to California, apparently, got in a car accident, got a huge settlement, put like $20,000 into her tits, the rest of it up her nose, and got into the adult business.
That's the happy ending I like to hear about.
It was so funny just to have that moment. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I couldn't have written this moment. I've got one of the hottest women in porn history in front of me here, and my wife has to call and say, "I work for the guy you used to work for," and then, "Oh my God!" Now it's an Oprah moment.
This is exactly the reason for divorce, right there. You're ruining it. You're ruining it. Just like sex at home, you're ruining it.
I almost texted my ex-wife because we're still friendly. We're not that friendly, but we're civil to each other. And I never badmouth my ex-wife. She made her call and it's all good. But I almost texted her to go, "Hey, just so you know, Victoria Paris died." Why would I do that? What the hell's wrong with me?
Yeah, avoid ex-wives and not a good thing.
So pouring one out for Victoria Paris.
Pouring one out for the homegirl.
For the homegirl.
Hold on, let me pour out a shot. Hold on a minute.
She was gorgeous though.
Let's give credit where it's due because these people paid good money to see this. Let's thank our executive producers. The big bosses, some are in the house watching us right now, thinking about frozen T-shirts like I am.
I see two of them.
I see like executive producers Charles Green, Stephen Franklin, Joe Christian, Michael B., Thomas Santiago, Music Therapy Laz, Ben Tom and Tom Jr., the Chad, James Gum, Jarhead Rock, Wayno, Michael the Captain Smith, Andy Carson, John Moronic, Jimmy Way Hawkins, Project PB&J Cat, Mike Neese, R. Habs, Lindy Lou and my little geriatric sex kitten Mary, False Flag, and oh my God, it's birthday boy Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael's birthday?
Steve Carmichael.
Happy birthday, Steve Carmichael.
Happy birthday, man.
Yeah. And you know who else's birthday it was just the other day? Mine. It was I turned 80. No,
screw that guy.
Fuck. Whoa. No. That's right.
I'll be right back. I got Lemmy yelling at me and I don't know why. I'll be right back.
That's all right. Well, you won't miss anything but me changing Johnny's lights and stuff. Yeah, so it was David Crosby's 80th birthday, and we wish him a happy fuck yourself. Meh.
80?
Yeah, 80.
Is that it?
That's it.
I mean,
I don't know. I'm hoping life speeds faster for him, and I don't know, man.
He looks 180.
He looks 1,080. He looks like he crawled out of a sarcophagus, like he's Yummy Mummy, except he's Yucky Mummy. Jesus
Yucky,
Christ.
ucky.
I swear, it's just birthday. Oh. Yeah, 80 years old. I know, you bastard. Let's say hi to our beloved audience. Let's see who's in the house. Do a little roll call. Let's say hi to David Scher, Thomas Santiago, R2, R3 Locking Nut, Kevin Coachell, Tim Thomas, Jimmy Ray Hawkins, executive producer Charles Green, my girl Sandra Picorni. Picorni, Picorni, Picorni. We love you long time. Yeah. Let's see who else is in the house. We got Nightbot, Majestic PB&J Cat, Thrash Metal and Fun Riffs, Blacktooth Fox, R2, R3 Locking, not John Bulware in the house. How are you, brother? Hobo Rody, Bozique. Let's see, Dwight Bailey, Sean Zimmerman of Zim's Guitars in the house.
Yeah.
My buddy Fruitcake Tony, how are you, man? Halface, Andrew Saviers, Thomas Santiago, Janice, la 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 la. Keith Campbell, Hellstorm, Dwight Bailey, Rico B, Can't Drive 55 in the house. Let's see. I can't drive 55. Alice Martinez, how are you, darling? Let's see. Hey now,
Marcy's
in the house. Our girl Marcy.
Here. Keith, how do you pronounce your last name, man?
Campbell.
Nah, another Keith.
You're looking at a different Keith.
You got another Keith on Facebook.
Kurt 5150. Read me that name. Let's see. R2, R3 Locking Nut is dating someone new. Her name is Melissa Titsafloppen. That's she's obviously Swedish. Let's see. Who else we got in the house? I'm scrolling. Let's see. Tim Thomas. Long list of people pouring in. Thank you, everybody. Dan of New Jersey. Browns fan in the house. Matt Stewart in the house.
Hey
now. Let's see. Who else?
Everybody.
There's a lot of people. James S. 5150.
Who are these people in my house?
Who are these people? Nelson Rodriguez. Jesus Rapes Me. Danny's Rockin' Metal. And everybody else. Welcome.
And
everybody.
the rest.
And the rest.
All of them. Welcome, you guys.
Fruitcake Tony wants to hear you sing the La La song, Johnny.
La. Where's my thing?
You mean the La La song from Zebra?
La 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 la. Let me.
La 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 la. They actually have a song that does that.
They do. That's actually one of their most popular songs.
I know, the whole crowd sings along with it. It's pretty amazing.
It is funny, and I've been there. I've been there when they've done
Hellstorm.
that.
Yes, Dave. This is Gene Simmons calling, saying your services are no longer welcome.
Oh,
by the way,
I guess we're diving right into that story right out of the bat. That's the one.
I guess. Is that what we're gonna do?
I mean, we might as well.
It's all over my Van Halen page, man.
Again, it's always about Van Halen with you.
Johnny's wife turns on the lights. Okay, that's it. No more sex until you stop calling out Eddie.
Oh,
okay?
Gosh.
Stop. Just stop.
I tried to get away from it. I can't. I mean, it's just.
No, you don't try to get away from it. You don't. Let's not lie to. Don't lie to the people.
What are you talking? All right, hold on.
That was
That
was as genuine as Gene Simmons saying,
yeah.
"Do it for the fans."
hold on, Paulie. I want to see. Let's let Johnny do his plugs, and then we'll see if he gets away from it. If Van Halen is not mentioned, I'm just curious. Go ahead, Johnny.
The Van Halen stuff.
Is that? Do you have Van Halen stuff to plug? Is there?
Well,
I thought we were getting away from it, but.
Well, I mean, we are live on a Van Halen group.
Oh, there
that has over 62,000 members.
Yes, all right.
And they're all talking about the big story that we'll talk about in a second. Yeah,
somebody got shafted. Somebody got shafted.
And it's going to be a lot of fun.
There's a lot to unpack here. There really is. and I'm so glad that Gene Simmons is in the house with us because we have a few questions for him. Gene, rumor has it that Gene Simmons, everybody, let's have a big hand for the great Gene Simmons of Kiss.
Yeah. Thank you. Very powerful and attractive man.
You're looking good, Gene. You're looking good.
I'm slimmer than Gene.
Yeah.
Which is not something I could always say.
I could see you wearing the armor that has the openings here, as to where Gene right now covers it all. He covers it all now, but you can't tell in the armor.
No,
he used to wear where the chest was open.
Mm-hmm.
Not no more, baby.
No, and then he went from the armor to the Love Gun 1990. The 79. Sort of chiclets, the chiclet thing, and that he used to have the big. Remember, it had the ring in the front, the bondage ring,
right,
the 4 points, and now that got all filled in with like spandex.
Yeah, we got to add some foam and stuff to make Gene a little more, level.
That'd be Gene Simmons of Kiss.
Absolutely, Gene. So I have a question for you. I hear that the End of the Road tour has had a few changes in the lineup. Now, when you say changes in the lineup, are Paul and are Peter and Ace coming back? Is that the change?
See, here's the thing. It's like going back to your first wife. That's the typical Gene Simmons response now. You ask yourself, your first wife, she was great while you were together, but there's a reason why you got divorced, and you never go back. And that's just one of those things. We can't go back. We're not going to go back. Ace and Peter, we wouldn't be here were it not for what Ace and Peter brought to the band. But as Paul is so happy, is so wanting to say, we really wouldn't be here if Peter and Ace were in the band. We still couldn't be here. So no, it's
we do it all for the fans.
They're great, and Peter, it's just amazing. We wouldn't be where we are today if Peter and Ace weren't in the band, and we wouldn't be where we are today if Peter and Ace were in the band. So it's a double-edged sword, and I love swords.
And I don't love Peter and Ace.
I know. Well, I love Peter. I just don't love Ace. Although I love Peter. I love Peter in my Ace.
I love my Peter in someone. So anyway, continue on with this interview, Gene. I've heard a rumor, and maybe
you're ending my opportunity. You're ending my opportunity to ever interview those guys ever again. You know this. Right?
I think the window's kind of closed the first time that I did Paul and you did Gene.
Wait, what?
Nobody's watching.
So to speak. Well, that's true. That's
watching.
True. Johnny, did you hear the roll call? What are you talking? There's 62,000 people on that Van Halen site all tuned in right now?
Well, that is the goal.
Yes. So there you go.
That is the goal for the fans. 62,000, and every one of them should send $5 to Gene, care of Kiss Online.
So, Gene, I heard a terrible rumor. Looking good, baby.
That's a rare example of Gene with his rail hair. Look at that thing. Look at that hair. What is wrong with that? That's shit. Of all the disturbing things in that picture, Gene's hair is the most disturbing. It's disgusting looking. Look at that.
It's kind of like that hair you buy at the Halloween store.
Yeah, it looks like doll hair.
No, it looks.
I don't care. I don't care about the fact that he's got crud on his tongue. I'm not really caring about that. And his eyes are rolled back, and you can see where he's had clear plastic surgery around his eyes.
Sure.
Yeah, all the stuff that's gone on with it. I'm still, the most horrifying thing in that photograph is that scruff, that merkin that's just adorning the top of his head.
It's kind of like black colored cotton. You know,
it's
when you
gross.
stretch cotton out.
There's nothing natural about that hair anywhere. That's gross. It's doll hair.
Hey, Mark Dillon.
Hey, Mark Dillon.
Welcome,
Hi.
Mark Dillon.
Hi,
hey,
Mark.
Hi, Mickey Newman.
Hello, Mark Dillon.
Hello,
Thank you, Mr.
Newman. Hello,
Thank you, Mr. Acavano.
That picture is so gross.
So, Gene, I gotta ask. I heard a rumor. Now, you originally had David Lee Roth as your opening act for the Kiss tour. Is it true?
David Lee Roth was a charismatic frontman from a band called Van Halen. I'm sure, I don't know if I've ever said this to anybody, but I discovered Van Halen years ago.
I've heard a rumor about that, but Van Halen disputes that.
This was
the truth.
Well, this was long before Eddie decided he wanted to join Kiss in 1979. We were having some problems with Ace Frehley at the time, and so we had Eddie come in and play guitar solos that appeared on the Love Gun album that we eventually told Ace he had to play note for note. And so David Lee Roth, I don't know what happened to him. He looks a lot like a guy named Dane Zimmerman, who
Dane actually looks better.
Who resembles the Crypt Keeper. From the old Tales from the Crypt.
Well, Dane resembles Ace. Dane resembles Ace.
It's false flag. So David Lee Roth is no longer going to be opening for Kiss. We've decided that the painter that we've been charging to stand on stage for 20 minutes before we go on stage, David Garibaldi, will continue to pay us for the right to go out and open for our shows.
So wait a second, Gene, you're telling me that you guys are putting a painter up on stage instead of David Lee Roth, the frontman of Van Halen?
We find that a man throwing paint at canvas is more interesting than David Lee Roth in 2021.
Does it have anything to do with the price of what you're paying your opening act? Is that part of it, or?
I would assume that David Lee Roth is not interested in paying the nominal fee that we charge David Garibaldi.
I see. So you're actually getting paid for that opening act to be there.
There's a reason why I have all of these beautiful, luxurious homes and that Shannon Tweed still looks as great as she does. And that is plastic surgery and charging everybody involved with this band a nominal fee.
Interesting. Now, is it true you also compared David Lee Roth to Elvis?
Yeah. Sorry. David, here's the thing. I want to remember Elvis as the guy that was on the Ed Sullivan Show, the guy that was on Uncle Milty's show. I don't want to see fat, bloated Vegas Elvis, and that's, I don't know what happened to. This is an actual quote, by the way. I don't know what happened to David Lee Roth. Well, he got old, Gene. He got old just like you. He got old.
Actually,
I don't know what happened to David Lee Roth. That's such a weird question.
He basically said, I don't know what happened to David Lee Roth. It reminds me of Elvis. I want to remember Elvis as the young, hip swinging, snarling young, handsome man in on the stages. I don't want to remember fat, naked Elvis dead on a bathroom floor. He's like, that's how he compared David Lee Roth. He's like, I don't know what happened to him, but that's the comparison I'm making.
David Lee Roth's response was, hoppity boppity boppity with the top of the pop band, boppity boopity boppity boop. I've got Elvis on my elbow.
Hamala baby, zibbity boobala, hamala baby, zibbity bop. I ain't got no job opening for Kiss right now in Vegas or nowhere. I'm real sad and lonely. Want some miserable other act hire me because I sing real bad.
David Lee Roth comes out and goes, look at all the Botox here tonight.
I mean, all right, let's really unpack this because there's so much to unpack here. First of all, hot meat kettle.
Well, let's go the other side of that. Let's go to the point. The first part of that statement is a glowing endorsement of David Lee Roth as the greatest frontman of his time. By the way, Paul Stanley is right next to him on stage for the past 50 years. He's like,
Gene,
in his day,
I'm right here, Gene.
There was nobody as great as David Lee Roth. That fucking schmuck that I've been standing next to for 50 years can't hold a candle. He's not even close. His schmeckle, a pimple on the bottom of his schmeckle.
I'm right
isn't
here.
even close. David Lee Roth was the epitome. He's the epitome of the greatest frontman in the history of music. I don't know why I stood on stage with these guys.
I'm right over your left shoulder. That's
the fucked up part about the whole thing is he spends the first like half of that thing talking about how David Lee Roth is he's greater than Robert Plant, he's greater than Mick Jagger. Nobody was as great as David Lee Roth.
Stanley.
Hello, Paul Stanley, right?
Star Child, right here.
By the way, right here. Say what you will.
Look to your left.
Say what you will. Paul Stanley, underrated frontman. Really good. Really fucking good. Really good frontman. Not David Lee Roth good, not Steven Tyler good, not Mick Jagger good, but about a rung below them. I mean, Paul Stanley is as good a frontman.
He's good. He's good for Kiss.
He's as good a frontman as can be without being one of the most exceptional frontmen in the history of the genre. He's certainly a second tier guy.
I could, in my mind, put him as good as Steven Tyler. I can't put him where Roth was. I can't put him as
here's the thing
where Mick Jagger was. I could put him with Tyler.
I can't because, and here's why. They're different styles. Remember, Tyler doesn't play an instrument, so he's got the microphone. Steven Tyler is your prototypical frontman and nothing else. Whereas Paul played guitar most of the time, and he'd take it off every once in a while to show his nipples. But other than that, he played guitar most of the time. And by the way, that makes his contribution to the band more significant than your straight up frontman, just a guy that's a frontman. But Paul Stanley, if there's a holy trinity of frontmen, the top five for me are Roth, Jagger, Tyler, Daltrey, and Robert Plant. I mean, and Freddie Mercury. I mean, let's not fucking forget Freddie Mercury. Sure. And by the way, Gary Cherone is a phenomenal frontman.
I wouldn't put him with the rest of them.
No, but he's not up there. But I'm saying my point is you've got these guys that's your prototypical guy with a microphone, dancing, ringmaster, that kind of a thing. Paul Stanley isn't that. Paul Stanley may be the greatest frontman with a guitar that's ever been. I mean, the combination of frontman, rhythm, guitar player. There aren't many guys that can touch Paul Stanley.
I'm gonna put Bon Jovi up there with him.
Maybe, but the guitar is ceremonial in Bon Jovi's hand. He's not a great guitar player.
Well, I mean,
but then again, neither is Paul Stanley.
Had Richie Sambora, yeah, and Paul admits. I mean, he's got Ace Frehley, you know, but
right.
But Paul does play more than John does.
Absolutely, and Paul Stanley, yeah, but Paul Stanley. See, Majestic PB&J Cat. James Hetfield's not a great frontman. He's not. He does because Metallica's not a show band.
No, they're not. I mean,
they're not a show band.
They're one of the best metal bands ever. They're certainly the biggest. And wait a second. Bozique, you put Steven Tyler over David Lee Roth? No way, man.
No.
I love Steven Tyler. But come on, Roth was the best frontman of the 80s.
Yeah, Roth is arguably 1B and greatest frontman of all time. Mick Jagger is the greatest frontman of all time because he still does it. And he still does it amazingly in his fucking 70s. He is phenomenal. He's still in shape. Now, is he a great singer? No, but neither is Roth.
Under my thumb.
But the point is, for the past 30 years, anybody that's gone to a Rolling Stone show has been like, well, all right, I'll go to the Stones. I mean, how good can they be? And walked away going, holy shit, they were awesome. And Mick Jagger still has that. He is the greatest frontman of all time. And then I would put Mercury and Roth right there next to him. You know? But Paul Stanley has that. He has that it. He's just, I mean, for a band like Kiss, David Lee Roth couldn't be the frontman in Kiss. Steven Tyler couldn't be in the frontman in Kiss. Like, so for Gene Simmons to sit there and talk about how fucking great David Lee Roth is, and he was great, sure. But to do that almost seems like a punch in the dick to the guy he stood on stage with for 50 years, who is no slouch as a frontman. Paul Stanley stood on stages all over the world and can make 200,000 people feel like they're in a club. And that's the same thing that Roth and Tyler and those guys have. I just think that was. I think if Paul were a little more sensitive, and he isn't, he's learned to ignore Gene over the years, which is probably smart.
It's very smart.
But if I'm Paul Stanley and I read how nobody could touch David Lee Roth in his heyday. Well, David Lee Roth's heyday was 1977 through 1984. From 1974 through 1979, Paul Stanley was the man.
I'd add up to like 1988 because those two solo albums with Steve Vai really got a lot of airplay and they were great. And he was just, especially the videos. Look at something like Yankee Rose. That's arguably one of the greatest videos of the 80s, period. I mean,
yeah,
it really
I think
is.
At that point, though, by the time you get to Skyscraper, by the time you get to Just Like Living in Paradise, you see the bandana, the receding hairline, the balloon pants. He's not quite what he was. I would say that everything after Eat 'Em and Smile for David Lee Roth he was starting to reach. I mean, and by the way, I love those records, and you'd be hard pressed to find a bigger fan of Dave than mine. But reality is, right around 1988, Dave started to do this. Whereas Paul, by the way, is still a great frontman. No, can he sing the way he used to? No, he can't sing the way he used to, but he still sings better than David Lee Roth.
You know, Gene was talking about that I wasn't a great frontman. Meanwhile, I was 60 feet over his head, swinging over an audience of 100,000 people. Gene! I'm right here! Gene!
Yeah, I just don't think, I think it's very disrespectful of Gene to gloss Roth the way he did, while Paul Stanley, who is in just as good a shape as David Lee Roth, brings the show. Yeah, well, I don't know if he's in better shape. Roth is a specimen.
He's physically able to do things that David Lee Roth is not right now. That's where I'm coming up with it. They both look physically in shape.
Maybe.
But I mean, Gene, Paul rather, is literally strutting around with, 40 pounds of gear and a guitar, and he's still doing the moves and swinging around the audience on trampolines. And I mean,
I'm willing to concede part of that. But my point is that Gene is discounting the contributions of a guy that I think, I just think that him talking about how David Lee Roth is the greatest. I mean, first of all, it's a rare moment where Gene doesn't talk about Kiss being the greatest of something.
Oh, yeah.
On the one hand, it's an acknowledgement that Kiss was not as good at something as somebody else was, which is, other than the Beatles, Gene has never admitted that Kiss wasn't as good as anything.
Paul was also quoted when they got David Lee Roth on that tour, like in early 2020. He was quoted as saying, "Well, there's Dave, and David's one of the greatest frontmen ever, and he's singing all the Van Halen songs, which everyone likes to hear. So that's him. He's a singer of Van Halen, one of the greatest rock bands ever. He's terrific." And like now that they're getting ready to get underway on the road again, just out of the blue, they're probably like having a meeting. We lost a lot of money that we should have pocketed during the pandemic shutdowns. I'm thinking maybe we cut David Lee Roth loose, hire some painter or some graffiti artist or something, and make him pay us, and we'll make more money.
No, you're right. And by the way, I also think it's awesome that Kiss in 1975 was playing stadiums and hockey arenas and headlining. And almost 50 years later, they're still playing stadiums and hockey arenas and headlinings, while bands like Van Halen have come and gone. Bands like all of these other bands.
Bands like Van Halen.
No, Van Halen is gone too.
Well, yeah.
Well, now they are.
But all of those, but even Van Halen was having trouble selling tickets in the last couple of tours. I went to the shows. They were 2/3 full. They weren't sellout shows.
And who was singing?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's the classic Van Halen. That's the guy. And by the way, go back and look at that 2004 tour attendance, Johnny. That Tucson show was not sold out. Those shows were not selling out. The fact of the matter is, a band like Kiss that was thrown aside as a here today, gone later today novelty act, 50 years later is still one of the biggest touring acts in the world. And all credit to Doc McGee, by the way, who is a fucking phenomenal business manager. But talk about a band that was thrown aside, and 50 years later, they're still laughing all the way to the bank. That's amazing. It's amazing.
What's really funny is, Gene and the idea that Gene is slamming Dave because he got old and he hasn't looked in the mirror. And everyone knows I'm a massive Kiss fan, of course.
Right.
But I mean, just it's the pot calling the kettle black in so many ways. It's like, come on, man. I mean, we're all going to get old, and we've talked about this.
But they're not old. But see, the thing is, Dave is not able to hide behind makeup. That makeup keeps you perpetually young.
Dave's also not able to, or he's not at least singing to backing vocal tracks, which Paul is.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
I mean, he's saying he can't sing. And I will still say, even without the backing vocals, Paul is a better vocalist than Dave.
He's always been a better vocalist than Dave.
Yeah, because he can actually sing. But even now, even without the backing tracks, I think Paul does a better job. And Dave is just playing it raw. He's like, look, here's what I look like. And I'm doing the silly struts. I can't do the kicks the way I could anymore. Okay, because my body's a little older. And I'm losing my hair because I'm older. And I can't sing because I never could. And you didn't notice it before because I'm doing jump splits.
Yes,
off
because
the
I was
I'm doing the sword dances.
Yes, I was cut out of granite. I was a cut out of granite physical specimen with perfect hair. I was the prototypical rock star. I was everything you imagined me to be as a rock star. So you completely ignored his lack of vocal ability.
Right.
It was style over substance. And in that situation, we all get old. You can't. There are very few people. I mean, Paul Rogers accepted, Glenn Hughes accepted. To a lesser degree, Rob Halford accepted. A lot of those guys, none of them can bring it the way they did 30 years ago, 40 years ago. None. Zero.
I'm going to say the closest is Halford, because we're going to talk about him later today.
Well, he's still a step down. Don't get me wrong. Rob Halford has stepped down.
Barely.
He's still 2 steps better than everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, he's so on point lately.
Ridiculous. And he's 70 and amazing.
There we go.
But look, by the way, in that picture, Roth looks better than Simmons.
Roth looks like he's at a rodeo right now.
But Roth looks in that picture. Roth looks like he's aged well. Right there, he's like, look,
come out.
He's like, look, I'm 60-something years old. This is what I look like. Gene is in leather pants and a leather blazer, and he has that weird hair. So, I mean, in that picture, you'd say to yourself, all right, there are two aging legendary rock stars. They're on equal footing. It looks like two guys that have done well in their career. And on the surface, you'd go, that's what I expect David Lee Roth to look like in his 60s. That's what I expect Gene Simmons to look like in his 60s.
This is I saw a comment on one of the news stories, and they're like, there are two shekel goblins having an argument over a corned beef sandwich.
Well, that's a little too ethnic for my taste.
Well, I'm Jewish. I could pull that one. But no, it really is like a freaking dinner at my uncle's house or something, where it's like, so you're looking a little old. Well, you're looking a little old. Oh, well,
I picture the Carl Reiner, Mel Brooks, Jerry Seinfeld walking in and bringing them their dinner, their corned beef on the TV tray in the living room. That's how I picture the two of them. Yeah,
Grandpa, Uncle Dave, here you are.
Yeah,
Uncle Leo Roth.
Uncle Leo. Yeah. Wait, you're fronting for Van Halen now?
Unbelievable.
Oh, this is great. No, I mean, it's just, could you imagine them like at the Carnegie Deli, like fighting over the last pickle?
Yes, I can. I can imagine all of that. That's the other thing. They're all laughing all the way to the bank. The idea that either of these guys can get anybody under the age of 60 to give a rat's fuck about what they're doing is phenomenal. These guys, by the way, these guys outlasted everybody with the exception of Pearl Jam that tried to replace them. They outlasted Soundgarden, they outlasted Nirvana, they outlasted Smashing Pumpkins, they outlasted Alice in Chains, they outlasted all of those bands. All of those other bands, the grunge bands and that next wave of bands, Korn and Limp Bizkit and all of those bands are being ripped apart and goofed on while these guys are arguing over who's going to play the next stadium gig. More power to them.
Well,
that's a phenomenal achievement.
I know who's going to win that argument because Gene is the opening band, is the main band. So
right, yeah. I mean,
there's not really an argument.
A lot of people in the chat are bringing up Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden is a great example of fuck you music business. Iron Maiden doesn't care. They don't care about what's going on in the world. They do whatever the hell they want, and it works. All the credit to Rod Smallwood and Steve Harris for controlling that band from day one and having a vision from day one. They never let the industry get a hold of them. Van Halen can't say that. Kiss can't say that. Most of the Bon Jovi, Motley, none of those bands can say that. But from day one,
AC/DC can.
Yeah, AC/DC, and what does AC/DC still do? They sell out stadiums.
Absolutely.
Whatever. And that's Harry Vanda and George Young, who started the band and managed the band from the beginning, and they're back controlling the band. They were a self-contained unit, and Iron Maiden is a great example of that. Now, Bruce doesn't sing like he used to. He still, again, like Halford, 90%, 80% of Bruce Dickinson is still better than 99.999% of everyone else out there. They set the bar so high and at such a legendary level that even if they don't hit it now, you give them a pass because you go, well, at 70, how can you expect them to hit that level?
Yeah.
These guys at 70 still sing better than David Draymond ever has or will. Fact.
Absolutely. I mean, here's the thing. And again, we've said this on the show so many times about Lee Roth. Dave is an entertainer.
Sure.
He's not a singer. He's an entertainer. He makes quips with the audience. He's wise ass.
He's a comedian. He's a Borscht Belt comedian.
Absolutely. He brings out the Borscht Belt is a great way to put it, actually, because he really does. He is entertaining. And look, to some extent, Kiss is too. Kiss are better musicians, per se, but look, you're going to be entertained. And David Lee Roth does that for me way better than a painter. And nothing against this painter, by the way. Let me
by the way, David Garibaldi is a fucking phenomenally talented guy. And I thank him because he gave us, I think I have the picture somewhere. He gave us the picture. He and Kiss donated
charity paintings.
They gave us this painting, and I probably have it here. Hang on.
I mean, he does. For those that don't know, he's a painter, and he does to background music. He does these large paintings, like really fast, of amazing figures. He's done them of Kiss and Mickey Mouse. Look at go online. Look at David Garibaldi. Mickey Mouse paints Mickey Mouse.
I'll send the picture I have to Johnny. And you guys he can post if he wants to.
And look, I like the guy's work. He's a great painter. He's very entertaining. But there's a time and a place for it. And for me, speaking personally, it's not at the beginning of a Kiss concert. I don't think it's at the beginning of a Kiss concert.
Well, what's amazing about it is he's able to do this in 15, 20 minutes. And he does a unique one for every show. And a couple of years ago when Kiss came through town, the band generously donated this painting. It's a one-of-a-kind painting. They do a new one. David does a new one in every different venue that the band plays in. And Gene and the band and David donated this picture to us to auction off for a veterans organization here called Soldier's Best Friend, Military Assistance Mission. There's two different veteran groups we deal with. And the Military Assistance Mission is a group that comes in. They're based in Phoenix, and they come in and they pay utilities and shit. Because like when the veteran is away, when the service person is away serving, their family is left behind, and sometimes they have a hard time making ends meet, whether it's paying their heating or electricity bill or making a car payment or whatever it is. So on occasion, they reach out to this organization called the Military Assistance Mission. And the Military Assistance Mission, through donations, writes checks to help make ends meet while the service person is over serving the country. So to their credit, David Garibaldi and Kiss gave us a painting to auction off. And this is the painting. And he did that painting in about 20 minutes.
And that's what he does. I mean, that's his shtick, and it looks badass. If you watch a video of him painting Mickey Mouse on YouTube. Don't do it now, obviously, but when we're off the air, Google David Garibaldi paints Mickey Mouse, and you'll see how he does it. It's fascinating to watch. I just don't want to see it as an opening act of a rock concert. I want to get pumped up. I want to hear music. That's what I'm going there for.
Yeah, I there's part of me that agrees with that, and there's the other part of me that if David Garibaldi on stage for 20 minutes gives Kiss another 40 minutes to play another half dozen songs, I'm okay with that.
Are they increasing Kiss's set list?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Not to my knowledge.
John Biel.
I don't know.
Is that true?
But the point is, he's a phenomenally talented artist, and it's cool that he does these paintings, and it's amazing to watch him throw paint, and then all of a sudden, about 2/3 of the way into it, you go, "Oh my God, look at that! It's a thing."
Yeah. No, look, and like I said, he's
Gene.
entertaining.
Yeah.
Gene's probably complaining about his hairline in that photo.
No, they were very, very cool. Even Tommy, who I'm not a huge fan of, obviously, because he's doing the Ace thing. But I mean, after that photo was taken, we had a nice conversation. They are the nicest. Look, I mean, we can shit all over Kiss for being money grubbing businessmen, and they are.
But we love them. We absolutely love them.
But they really are. They really are pretty fucking good.
Well, you and I are both Kiss Army from back in the day.
Yeah, and I'm fortunate enough because of what I do to have crossed paths with these guys over the past 30 years so many times. So I don't have an objective opinion. I'm not trying to name drop and shit. They don't have to be as charitable as they are. And a lot of the shit that they do behind the scenes, Gene does a lot of philanthropy that behind the scenes that you don't even know about. And I think it's amazing that he does that. He does a lot of veteran things. He does a lot of things for those that are less fortunate because he's got more money than he'll ever need. And he grew up very poor and obviously the child of a Holocaust survivor. And they have their shit together. I'm sorry. As much as we like to joke about Kiss, they're not.
We're
assholes.
Just joking. We're just
but
joking.
They're not assholes.
That's our thing. No,
they're just not assholes. They're good. More people in the industry should be as good as Kiss are as human.
Well, right now, David Lee Roth is going to beg to differ with you.
Well, hey, look, Dave is responsible for Dave. And if Dave wants to put in the time and the work and the effort to be a headlining act again, he can do it. He can do it. Does Dave want it? Is Dave focused? He doesn't have anywhere near the focus the guys in Kiss do.
But wait a minute.
I can't see him as a headlining act. I can't.
We don't know that. You don't know that.
But doesn't Dave do art now too?
Yes, Dave does.
But he does it, and so does Paul Stanley, for that matter. I mean,
well,
a lot of these guys do it as a hobby.
There is a rumor, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but there is a rumor that Dave has some health problems that, and not unlike Ozzy Osbourne, doing painting is something that allows neurological focus. And there's a rumor that Dave is dealing with some neurological issues, nerve damage in his spine and his neck, and things that have limited his ability to be as physical as he used to be, and that's obvious when you see him on stage. And B, if you look at some videos, you'll see Dave has a little bit of a shake and a little bit of a tick and a little bit of a thing going on there that that painting is often prescribed as a therapeutic thing. So at his age, doing painting, I imagine, is probably good for him from a physical standpoint, from a therapeutic standpoint, and from an artistic creativity standpoint, because nobody can tell him what to paint. He can just do his own thing, and whatever weird shit that goes on in his head can come out that way. But Dave, because he's a black belt in multiple martial arts, because he's now doing with, he's got a business venture where he's trying to cure tattoo ink and have the best tattoo ink and have the best curing process for people's tattoos, which, when he went over to Japan, he got a bodysuit done that a lot of people don't see.
I saw that advertised on Fruitcake Tony's show.
He does. He does this thing. He's got a bunch of things going on that take his focus away from, and he doesn't have the business thing. I mean, Matt Sensio is his guy, and that's it. He doesn't have Doc McGee and a corporate thing behind him, and he doesn't have focus. Dave is an ADD. He's the prototypical ADD guy. So yeah, I mean, and he doesn't need the money.
Well, Bo Zeke brings up an interesting point. He says his biggest problem is that he hasn't evolved his act.
That's not true.
But here's the thing. I mean, he's kind of brought his act to his maturity level or physical maturity level, I should say, to what he's able to do, I think. But I mean, look, you're going to see David Lee Roth because you want him to be out there and
Right.
bigger than life.
Yeah.
And that's what you're trying for. And that's what he's trying to do with a certain amount of success. It's just because of his physical limitations. Now you're noticing more the singing that he's trying to do isn't very good, but he's still very entertaining. Look, I would rather see David Lee Roth as the opening act of Kiss than the Painter. I'm sorry. I'd rather see any musical act as the opening for a musical act. I told you on the air, I tried to do stand-up comedy before a group of musical acts went on. And I was like, are you sure this is the right booking? Yeah. They like you. They like it. I'm like, but I'm going on after a heavy metal act and then before a heavy metal act. That seems, I really seem out of place here. Shouldn't I be
Craig
like
Gass does that and he pulls it off.
Yeah, I got pulled off. I got pulled off by bikers in chains. Come here, Mankuta. Come here.
I will respectfully disagree with the assertion that David Lee Roth hasn't matured his act. He has matured his act. He's different now. He's got the overalls and the hat, and he's kind of like the old blues man and the old soft shoe dance guy. That's not David Lee Roth. That's not the guy we want to see. Nobody wants to see Batman get old or Superman get old. And what you expect in David Lee Roth, the expectation is a guy that's going to come out there and ride the inflatable microphone and be the master of ceremonies, the party guy. And when you're 70 years old and you redefine yourself, and Dave has redefined himself, he's a little more classy, a little more soft shoe. If you notice, he's got the little the vest and things. He has aged and he's redefined himself.
More Vegas.
Yes, but it's not an act we want to see. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference. He has refined it. He has aged. But that's not what you did. When you buy a pizza, you expect a pizza. You don't expect a taco. And as good as the taco might taste, it's still not what you asked for. And I think that's the issue with
tacos as Gene has. Oh!
And I think that's the issue is the story that David Lee Roth is writing today is not a story we want to read. But it's a story he has to write. Like he has to redefine himself. He can't be like it is kind of sometimes embarrassing to watch Steven Tyler at 70 with feathers in his hair and the scarves and humping the microphone. It's like, really?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I gotta disagree with it. Tyler is still a fucking kid in an adult body. I don't know where he gets the fucking energy. Perhaps it's Bang energy drink that he's drinking. That could be it. Steven Tyler, I'm sure, loves new Swirly Pop Bang energy drink available at your local 7-Eleven. Thank you, Bang energy drink. But I do think that that Steven Tyler really still has his ability to physically jump around and swing off poles, which blows my mind. I don't know how he does it. Is he a robot?
As long as you don't consider that he's 70.
Yeah. If you didn't know his age, you wouldn't guess it.
And that's the difference. The difference is, Mick Jagger has been able to evolve. Robert Plant has been able to evolve. Roger Daltrey, some of these guys have been able to redefine themselves. David Lee Roth's act does not age well. For example, and I think we've mentioned this before, I don't know if it was on the Saturday show or this show, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. The Red Hot Chili Peppers in their 60s doesn't work. The act doesn't age well. If anybody thinks that Corey Taylor or Slipknot or look at Blackie Lawless and Wasp, those acts are predicated upon young energy, a certain amount of and Metallica. What is Metallica? How violent and aggressive can Metallica be when they've all been through rehab and James is a fucking grandfather? You see how pathetic it is when you see guys like
Metallica. I disagree on Metallica because they're not guys who move anywhere. They basically slowly walk around. They're not doing stunts or big shows. They're just playing hard and fast, and you can get away with that in thrash.
Metallica is dad rock now. It's dad rock. The guy. Yeah, thank God.
Neither are you.
No, you don't want to. Can you imagine a woman trying to pass these shoulders?
I'm a dad.
There's dad. Dad.
Ellie. Hi, Ellie.
Hi, Ellie. When they talk about greatest metal tour of the year, that big, the metal tour of the year, who's headlining that tour? It's not Megadeth. It's Lamb of God. And Lamb of God's been around for a long time now. It's Lamb of God, Trivium, and whatever other band, Hatebreed and stuff. Oh yeah, and Megadeth. Looking at Dave Mustaine trying to remain relevant is sad. Dave Mustaine is the thrash version of David Lee Roth.
Actually,
it's the
Mustaine's
act
tour
doesn't age well.
Mustaine's tour is coming up, and aren't Lamb of God opening for them?
No, it's a quote unquote co-headlining tour, but you can bet your ass Lamb of God, Hatebreed, and I don't think Trivium's on the bill anymore. But you can bet your ass those guys are selling the tickets, not Megadeth.
That's too bad. Trivium's really good.
Yeah, Megadeth is a great example of what happens when a thrash band gets old and can't readjust. Metallica has certainly the idea of going to a Metallica show and seeing Metallica Loves You. Are we all having a good time at a Metallica show? And the Metallica I grew up with during Master of Puppets and Justice for All would make fun of the Metallica that's playing on stage right now. It's don't get me wrong.
Seeking young boys.
Now, don't get me wrong. I fucking love Metallica, and I think their last two albums are the best things they've done since And Justice for All. I mean, they have come back with phenomenally good music. Thank you, Robert Trujillo.
I was about to say that. Thank you, Robert Trujillo.
Thank you, Robert Trujillo.
I really do feel he's a big factor of that. I really
sure
do.
He is. He's got a great energy. He's a positive dude. He's a positive dude. Look, Lars and James are old and tired and grumpy. Bitter and grump. And if Metallica stopped tomorrow, I don't think those guys would be bummed about it. I think that Robert comes in, and Kirk still, I think, gives them a little kick in the ass to keep them up and moving. And God love them for it. And by the way, Q Prime doesn't suck either. That Cliff Bernstein and Peter Mensch are still the guys. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, also as far as Metallica goes, Kirk is kind of evolving into that, Joe Bonamessa category. He wants to be bluesy and Gibson-y and
like George Lynch, because you can't be the shredder with the macaroni and cheese haircut in your 60s. It doesn't work. It doesn't translate. We all get old, and at some point you have to either redefine yourself or age gracefully. And the great ones, the Tylers and to a lesser degree Tyler, because he hasn't really aged well. But Robert Plant,
I've aged beautifully.
Robert Plant,
I don't look a day over 700.
And Paul Rogers, and even Glenn Hughes. Glenn Hughes is another guy that sounds almost as good as he did in his heyday, and looks better today than he did when he was younger. He has aged phenomenally. Good for him. But you start to see in the pictures, Bruce Dickinson's starting to look old. Starting to look old and craggly, starting to look like one of those British punters.
But
and more power to him.
He still performs, and they still bring the new product. That's what I like about Maiden, man.
Oh no, I'm with you. Look, the new Maiden is great.
Love
Maiden
that stuff.
They deliver. Dan in New Jersey asks, "Is it time for us to move on from '80s music? When something better comes along, yeah, it'll be time." There's only a handful of bands that have been able to endure since then. There are only a hand. Look, who's headlining? Who does everybody want to see? Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Kiss, Iron Maiden, Metallica. These are all 40-year-old bands.
Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Poison.
Yes. Why isn't Lamb of God selling out stadiums? Where's Godsmack? Where's Disturbed? Where's Slipknot? None of those bands endured or ever reached the level that these 80s bands that we talk about. There's something about them. They had personality, they had talent, and they had the songs. And bands like Disturbed and Godsmack and Slipknot and whatever other flavor of the month, Korn, Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machine. When's the last time Rage Against the Machine did anything new? Phenomenal band. I love Rage Against the Machine, but they haven't done anything in 30 years.
But they don't have that type of following either. They just don't. I mean, there's something about the 80s genre that endures. It was just a unique time period that we all lived through, and we have memories from it that we're clinging on to for dear life because we never will see a time like that again.
But it's amazing. It's amazing too, because you see Motley Crue's The Dirt. They finally made the movie for Netflix. And what happened? Another generation of 19 to 30-year-olds went and go, "Oh my God, this is awesome!" And you see Rock of Ages, which is still one of the greatest things on stage in theaters. You see Raiding the Rock Vault in Vegas. You see all of these things, all of these 80s bands. The M3 Festival. All these things are still interesting to people because it's just good. Even Nickelback is a great example of a band that was phenomenal for a decade. Creed, Nickelback, Pearl Jam can still tour stadiums because they're Pearl Jam. They've become the Grateful Dead, and more power to them. There's a great example of a band. Pearl Jam couldn't do Even Flow and Jeremy forever. They had to do something and redefine themselves, and they've done that, and they've got a great fan base. They've redefined themselves as a band, but there is no rock star band out there right now. There's no rock star band. The biggest bands are the ones that I listed, and U2, and the Eagles.
U2 is just timeless. So's the Eagles.
I mean, there's just something going on there.
I know another band that's timeless. I could think of one more. Can you think of one more, Paul? I know one more.
It's think of
got
one.
My name in it. It does.
Sure. You know what? And I have to address
Stills, Nash and Young. Any hints? Anybody?
I'm going to address thrash metal and fun riffs. Yes, they do have to get away with something in thrash. Thrash is not about old people. Thrash is about youthful energy. And bands like Testament, who are phenomenal and I love, and Slayer, who were phenomenal and I love, and Metallica, those are great bands. But kids go to those shows and see their dad or their grandfather, and they laugh. They like the music, but they laugh at the band. There's thrash metal is not timeless. Thrash metal is something, it's a phase that you go through. Because when you're 20, you can listen to Suicidal Tendencies, or you can listen to Testament, or you can listen to Nuclear Assault, or whatever other band you want to bring. But not many 50-year-olds are whipping out Meshuggah, or Strapping Young Lad, or Warbringer, or whatever other band you want to pull out of your ass. That's a young, energetic, powerful band.
Gizmachi.
It's okay, great, yeah. But even Gizmachi, even Jay is like, man, I don't know if I want to do this much longer. You know what I mean? It's like
I don't want to tour past 3 days.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the reality of it. Most music, is predicated on youth and energy, and nothing more than thrash and hardcore. I mean, Henry Rollins is a grandfather. Nobody wants to go see Rollins' band. What is Henry Rollins mad about? You're going to see a guy come out there with 40-year-old tattoos of a black flag and gray hair and arthritic. Look at Iggy Pop. You're not seeing a lot of kids at those shows. We like those bands. Kids don't.
I can think of one grandfather that's always mad and angry. Jerk off.
Yeah. Thrash metal and fun riffs. He doesn't realize that thrash is back. No, it's not. It's not back. It's not.
No, I don't know, man. I think thrash does have enough of a following that again, it's not as much an age thing. I mean, I think like black metal and stuff, when you get even heavier than your basic, Anthrax, Testament, Slayer, I think when you get really farther, like Meshuggah, Gojira and bands like that, when you get to that level, I think that is, not the same following as the nostalgia that follows Anthrax, that follows Testament, that follows Slayer, that follows Megadeth, and those guys. So I think part of that is nostalgia, which is, look, basically a lot of reason why we like the 80s stuff, because it was a great time period,
Yes, and that's the point. And by the way, thrash metal and fun riffs, that's the point I'm trying to make. You had 4 kids in the car the other day. They all knew the lyrics to a 30-year-old song. Yes, a 30-year-old song, because nothing has replaced it. Thrash isn't back. Thrash just didn't. The best thrash has already been done, and nothing has replaced it. And that's why we're so attached to it.
Well,
because Metallica is just better. Metallica is better than Meshuggah. Metallica is better than Theory, than what do you call it? Lamb of God. Gojira. Yeah.
The thrash also didn't take over the world like
right.
other stuff did. So it's still always been there.
But there's young guys that are attracted to the new thrash bands, and that's a new generation picking up on that.
If there were a new thrash band out there that were lighting up people at a level that made any real ripple, I would know about it. One of our sister radio station has an incredible thrash show on Sunday nights. It's still Sunday nights, 11 to 1 or 2 midnight to 2, because that's where it goes. Because that's where the 15 and 16-year-old kid is able to stay up late at night to listen to it.
That's where it always was.
Yes, there is. Well, no, because let's face it. For a while, you heard Symphony of Destruction, and you heard Indians, and you heard everything from Metallica. There were bands that did make it on the radio at that point, and Korn and Limp Bizkit were, not obviously not thrash bands, but
only
heavy
a handful
bands.
of them.
Right, because it's just not big enough, and there is no big band right now. And it's funny, Hellstorm brings up Clutch, though not a big band, draw a good mix of all ages crowd. Clutch has been around for almost 40 years. People, that's the thing, is these guys are not, there is no big thrash band out there. There is no band bubbling under. All of the great bands, even bands like Throwdown and Warbringer and Trivium, they've all been around 10, 15, almost 20 years.
Gizmachi's been around what, 16, 17 years?
Yeah, there's no new thing. So when the original
there is a new thing. There's a new Gizmachi album. Did you know about that, Johnny? Is there a plug for that somewhere in the
is
chat?
There a chance? Yes.
I'll bet there is. Featuring the great Jay Hannon of Gizmachi. See how I segue into
Bozique, 5-Finger Death Punch sucks. They do.
I did a 5-finger death punch in the shower earlier.
Do you know what 5-Finger Death Punch biggest song is? A Bad Company cover. Fact. Their cover of Bad Company is their biggest song.
No, I like 5-Finger Death Punch. I do.
I liked Moto
I'm
Grader.
joking about it, but
I liked my Moto Grader, which was the band that Ivan was in before 5-Finger Death Punch. Shit, I did one of 5-Finger Death Punch's first interviews. If you go to my website, neanderpaul.com, and you go to the radio section, when I was in Kansas City, this has got to be almost 15 years ago, having the guys from 5-Finger Death Punch on the radio. 15 years ago. They're not new. There is no new band that's lighting it up. It just doesn't exist.
5-Finger Death Punch started back when we had Pepperidge Farm first opening. I remember them, they would come in from Milano's, those young whippersnappers.
Hi, Lemmy. There is no new movement, new hard music movement that is moving the needle to the point where, back to Dan of New Jersey's original statement, is it time to move on from 80s? When somebody writes a better song than Leper Messiah, I'll move on. They haven't done it yet. Keith Campbell, Dirty Honey's a great band. Nobody cares. Great band.
I had a
great
hard
fucking
movement
band.
earlier. It almost ripped my stomach out. I had a hard movement.
Mammoth doesn't have a long-term future. I got bad news. As much as I love Wolfgang Van Halen and that record, it didn't even do what Shinedown does, and Shinedown was the heir apparent to Nickelback, and even they have come and gone quickly. And I like those guys. I think they're great. They're a good band for what they are, and I think that the Mammoth record is a phenomenally competent record. Nobody cares.
I don't know if nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Listen, I don't
People
think.
care.
No, I don't.
Not
think
enough people care, Johnny. Not enough people care.
I think we need to give him more time. I think we need to give him more time because he's not carrying the torch to be the next Eddie Van Halen. He's just playing good rock music. And I think after a couple of albums on his belt, I think he'll build up a bigger and bigger following.
By the way,
we're not in an age, by the way, that's going to have radio hit after radio hit that we're all going to listen to on the radio as we're driving. It's a different thing with downloads and stuff, but
Michael B. pointing out, I don't understand that kids love music today. Some like rock, many more love hip hop. They buy albums, they go to shows. Incorrect. Albums don't sell. They don't sell.
They downloads.
But they don't. But downloads are nothing. The artist doesn't get paid for it, and 1 million downloads still doesn't mean anything anymore.
Gets $1 per 100,000
not even that.
Or something.
Not even the only artist that sells records consistently is Taylor fucking Swift.
Yeah.
Great. More power to her. I don't understand the kids love music. I'm in the fucking industry. I see the music every week. I have a new music radio station. I have 2 of the 3 radio stations that make money in our company. 2 of them are new music stations. We own 98 KUPD. The company that I work for owns 98 KUPD, one of the premier hard rock stations in America. And we own 93.3 Alt AZ, which is KDKB, one of the best alternative stations in America. Neither one of them moves music. Neither one of them sells out festivals. Neither one of them, kids don't go to music. They have other things. They're playing fucking video games with Johnny.
Oh yeah, where's my
Johnny's on Twitch playing Fortnite or Grand Theft Auto 5.
Grand Theft Auto is huge.
Which one do you play, Johnny? 5? Which one do you play? 5?
GTA 5. It's amazing.
5.
All
Weeknights,
right.
10 p.m. I'm there.
I'm going to point something out because somebody asked a question that I thought was very funny. It said, "What's a shine down?" Shine down.
I'll show you behind the truck stop for $20.
Shine Down is celebrating their 20th anniversary this year. They've been around for 20 years, and they've had multiple #1 albums, and they actually hold a record for like #1 or top 10 singles in rock over the past 20 years. They are a phenomenally successful band, and you just asked me who they were. That makes my point. That makes my point perfectly.
Thank
Is
you,
that
William,
while we're
for
sitting
showing.
here, sitting here talking about Kiss and David Lee Roth and Iron Maiden and Van Halen and all these, one of the most successful bands of the past generation slipped underneath your awareness. So don't tell me I don't know what kids like and what they're doing. The fact of the matter is, these bands that we talk about, going back to Dan of New Jersey, these bands that we love and we talk about and that we embrace are still bigger and more enduring than anything that's come since. Anything.
You said come.
I love Rival Sons. Nobody cares. They're on their 5th album. Nobody cares. I love Dirty Honey. Nobody cares. I love The Answer, band out of Northern Ireland, out of Belfast. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
They just don't. They care about Taylor Swift.
They care about Johnny playing GTA.
Yeah. I mean, that's. By the way, I don't say this with any glee in my voice. It's disappointing.
Stop smiling when you say that.
It's no, because I'm trying to.
Nobody cares about anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't want to be a downer. It really is an example of why the fuck.
No, rock is finally dead.
It's not dead. It's dead in the United States. Around the world,
listen,
rock is massive.
The Netherlands, huge rock.
South America, Japan.
Basically everywhere except us.
Yes.
Even right now, the fucking Taliban are like,
they're like, I got to look that kill.
Oh, Jamie is crying.
They're listening to Taylor Swift, actually.
No,
but yeah,
Jamie has been in love before in her burqa.
No, it's a sad commentary on the disposable nature of America. We don't have the time or the patience to develop or commit to anything. And oh, by the way, I talked about this with a friend of mine today. Creed was the tipping point for me. Creed was a great example of a band that came out that was fantastic. Excellent. The musicianship was great. The songs were great. The vocalist sounded a little bit like Eddie Vedder. And so we shit on them. And we dumped on them. And we ripped them apart. Meanwhile, they've sold like 53 million records or something like that. But we shit on them and ripped them apart. They were the best band of their time. And then when Creed flames out, who grabs a hold of that mantle and runs with it? Puddle of Mud, briefly. Puddle of Mud were very, very big for a while, and then they flamed out. Nickelback grabs it.
So Creed
go
slipped
for a while.
in the Puddle of Mud.
Yeah, and then Nickelback grabs it, and they run for a while. And what did we do? We shit all over Nickelback too. From the weirdest thing, it happened somewhere America. Yes,
Johnny's got tickets. I don't know what you're talking about, Paul. And David
somewhere,
Ennis, you owe me $20 now.
Somewhere in America, we stopped embracing and
I never embraced any of those bands.
And adopted.
I couldn't stand any of them.
Johnny went from Van Halen to Duran Duran to Van Halen, back to Duran Duran to Van Halen to the Police. Yeah.
We went to a point. We went to a point. But Michael B. It's not big without radio. It's not big. If it were big, they would be playing hockey arenas. They would be selling records. They're not. There's no metric under which you can show me that these bands are big anywhere. There's no metric, none.
Well, in the
show
States.
me. Yeah, in the United States. The United States has abandoned rock, and it started somewhere around Creed. And I don't know why. I don't know why we when a band gets popular or when a band breaks through and starts to make a difference culturally, we want to tear them apart. I don't know why we do that. It's an American thing.
America is the most fickle country in the world when it comes to music. Every decade, they want change, and we love to build up our heroes only to rip them back down. We get a kick out of that. We're trolls.
I don't know why we do that. And this is the only country, I think, that does that. I mean, obviously, I don't
that
speak,
I know of.
Really. I mean, Australians love rock.
Sure,
as far as I know.
Everyone but the States. Everyone but us.
I don't know why we do this. It's a cultural thing. We are a nation of cynics and destroyers.
Because we're always on. I'm not necessarily me, but we're always on to the next thing. It's got to be bigger and better and bigger and bigger. And when it gets too big, it has to suck. And that's cool. And
we also don't want
it's
what
cool
the
to shit on
generation liked. We also don't want what the previous generation liked.
Yeah, and
outside the States, good music is good music. Inside the States, oh, my older brother liked that stuff. That's not for me. Doesn't matter what it is.
And I think I should probably clarify. I'm not saying that there aren't great bands out there. There are. You see them on YouTube. You see them on, you can stream them wherever you want to go. There are great bands out there, but they're not moving the needle to the degree that bands like Poison did, or Pearl Jam did, or Nickelback did, or whatever band you want to use. The point is, there is phenomenally talented music out there. There are great bands out there. Dirty Honey's a great example. Rival Sons are a great example. There are a bazillion bands out there. I thought there was a band called Foxy Shazam that's been around for a while that I thought was fantastic. There are some great bands out there, but they're not breaking through. They're not replacing the bands that with respect to thrash metal and fun riffs, those 30-year-old songs that the four kids in the car knew every word to. Why do they know every word to those thrash songs, but they don't know every word to the latest album from, whatever Necromancer or whatever friggin' metal band you want to bring out? That's my point. Those other bands, as good as they are, haven't done anything to move the needle to the degree in the United States that causes us to talk about them. And I don't know what that is, why that is. I think it's a breakdown in us, both from the music industry side, radio, records, MTV going away probably didn't help much. I mean, let's face it, there is a direct correlation between the time when MTV stopped playing music and the decline of music.
Absolutely.
Somebody somewhere, if they want to save the music industry, needs to resurrect an MTV and relaunch it. I know that sounds like a stupid old guy idea. It's not. What are we doing right now? We're on YouTube. What do kids do? They go to YouTube.
And
what
Facebook.
Is it? And Facebook. And it's visual. It's the visual, audio-visual connection that's happening on the internet right now. Why the fuck isn't somebody doing it on satellite or on cable television? There's clearly an audience for it. We're all here. We're here multiple times a week watching us talk about music. Why the fuck isn't there an MTV doing this? And because if there were an MTV, there could be three guys here talking about what we're talking about right now and go, hey, by the way, here's a great new band. Here's Dirty Honey. 5-minute Dirty Honey video. We come back and go, wasn't that great? That's exactly what's going on YouTube. That's exactly where people are going. You could watch it on your goddamn phone. There should be.
And they usually do.
Why isn't there somebody doing an MTV? It redefined the music industry in the 1980s, and it can relaunch the music industry today. I don't know why it's not being done.
Well,
I don't know why, because we all lament it.
Right now, you can watch any video on your phone right now from any band and watch it on YouTube. What you're talking about and what it really needs is an organized time slot to do things like a countdown or like a here's new music hour or something like that. Otherwise, you're just hunting pecking. You're just a pecker. You're just basically pecker, giggity. You're just basically searching on a case-by-case basis. Like, I always talk to people, I always say, look up stuff from Frontiers Music, because they always have all these new bands or some old bands that we follow and stuff like that. And that's the type of thing that, is at least organized into a bunch that, you'll find like a bunch of, same type of genre metal music. If you look at, Frontiers Music as a search. But like otherwise, we used to tune into, if you want rap, you tune into Yo MTV Raps. If you want to see what's popular, you do the MTV Top 40 Video Countdown. If you wanted, metal, you turn into, what was Ricky Rackman's show?
Headbangers Ball.
Headbangers Ball. That's basically it. It was an organized, at this time, you're going to get this block of music. At this time, you're going to get this block of music. And you'll discover stuff you don't know about. Now it's like your only chance of discovering stuff you don't know about is someone tells you, or you read it somewhere, or you watch it on here. Please watch it on here.
You're missing the prime component of that is mass distribution. Everybody streams 9 million different channels on their phone or on their whatever device they're using, iPad, whatever it is. The thing about MTV is A, it's well branded. We all know what it is. And B, if you go there and you get it. And if MTV showed music again, and again, this isn't about being an old guy and wishing for the old days. That model works. That model worked. The national radio station, the idea that anybody could tune in and we could all at one time be exposed to this great new band works. It made Duran Duran. It made Def Leppard. It made ZZ Top massive. A band that had been around already for 15, 20 years got massive because of MTV, because not necessarily the mode or the visual or the methodology, but because it was mass distributed and everybody had access to it. And somebody had mentioned earlier that cable was too expensive for the average family. Not necessarily. We do all these streaming things, all these streaming platforms. If people are willing to get Netflix, or people are willing to get Hulu, or people are willing to get Peacock, or whatever it is, if there were a streaming, if MTV became an app, it would be interesting to see what happened in that situation.
That's true.
That
I could say.
And by the way, MTV was the only network in the history of broadcasting that was 100% commercials.
Yeah.
It was all commercials. Every video was a commercial for a band who had an album. That's why they were slated. For people that don't know, commercial endeavors have to be announced. That's what those slates were. Was an announcement that it was here's the record, the song from the album by the band, record company, because they paid to have those songs on MTV, some of them.
True.
They were paid to be processed. MTV was 100% commercials, and we watched it and had no problem with it.
And by the way, speaking of watching, if you're watching right now, which we got a lot of people in the chat, take a second and smash the like button. Give us some thumbs up. Thank you, Wayno. Good point.
Fuck you, Wayno.
If you're enjoying the conversation, stick a big thumb up my ass and give us a thumbs up on the video. Thank you, everybody.
Wayno is the closest thing to a brother I have. So fuck you, Wayno.
There you go.
No, we have been best friends for 30 something years. He was my roommate. We worked together. One of the great things about Wayno, who's one of our executive producers, one of the great things about Wayno is I remember we both worked at a company called Leachmere, which was like a Sears or a Dillard's or whatever it is. It was basically a appliance store. And one of the vice president of the company and the store manager said to the manager of the warehouse where we worked, unloading trucks during the day so we could play in the band at night, So Paul and Wayne aren't the most productive employees we've ever had, but they are the greatest thing for morale that this company has ever seen. And that was the thing. You've got an energy that you bring to things, and that's one of the things that's missing from music today. That's the reason why I bring it up. One of the things that's missing is there's no energy. There's nothing you can grab onto that makes you say, I want this to be part of my life. It's not fun. It's not even Metallica and Anthrax. I mean, Anthrax was wearing the board shorts and skateboarding and all the shit that came in. There was an element of fun that was inviting and embracing. And for the United States in 2021, we just don't embrace music the way we probably should culturally. And I think that's disappointing. And it sucks because I think a lot of great music is being missed because of it.
And it's not being missed overseas. Like I said, the
Manowar, Mike Neese, by the way.
Netherlands has an amazing music scene. They have guitar stores everywhere. They have music stores everywhere. They're listening to metal on the radio, old stuff, new stuff. You know, even Frontiers Music, what we say, is based in Italy. It's over in Europe. You know, Japan. All those guitar stores in Japan are packed with people, and baby metal and all those Japanese metal bands are still playing massive stadiums, like constantly, because they love them. Let's say hi to our buddy Adam from FU Tone.
What's up, Adam?
FU Tone, Johnny. I know we have a sticker for him. FU Tone. When you want to hot rod your guitar, I know you want to go. I know you want to go to fu-tone.com. Because that's where FU Tone is, and they have everything. They have all sorts of cool things to hot rod your guitar. Noiseless springs, they have bridges, they have titanium parts. If you want parts and you want to change things about your guitar and make them better, you go to fu-tone.com. Right here in the audience. Adam, right here in the audience. He's one of us.
No guitar with a Floyd Rose on it should not have FU Tone's brass block and spring setup and saddle setup.
Those
no
red
guitar,
noiseless springs.
Everything, any guitar that you have with a Floyd Rose on it should go to Floyd Rose, whatever, trim system you want. Reach out to Adam at FU Tone. They should all immediately have the brass block, the noiseless springs, and the titanium saddle inserts. Some of them which are colored that will match the finish of your guitar. I mean, Adam does. He makes every guitar. Not many companies do this. He makes every guitar out there better. Every guitar. There isn't anything that those guys do.
Acoustic. They do the acoustic. They do the bridge pens.
Yep. They do make every guitar better, and there's not many companies that you can say that about. Universally embraced and admired. They make music better.
It's hot rodding your guitar. That's what it does.
It improves your guitar. It's not even about hot rodding. It's just improving it.
Who's this? Yeah. Get this guy out of here, man.
Oh yeah, wait. Here comes the Canadian. The Canadian has come in to put a C block in the entire show.
Oh boy,
come on.
Yeah, I put oil on my snake this morning. I'll show you in a moment. When we reach 100 thumbs up, I pull my cock out. There's your snake oil. Thank you.
Michael B.
You rule too, Adam. Thank you.
Your kids can think I'm a boomer, and that's all great. But the fact of the matter is,
how is Paulie a boomer?
We're not wrong. Because I'm apparently an old man shitting on new music. I'm not shitting on new music.
Boomer is older, man.
I'm not shitting on new music. I'm shitting on the fact that Americans don't embrace new music. I'm not shitting on the music. I'm shitting on the people. There's a difference.
There you go. Nobody shits on the United States like Paul. God bless America.
We should.
Paul hates you.
Why doesn't everybody have a dozen bookshelves full of music? You should. Everyone should. And I don't want to hear, we'll put it on a hard drive. Digital music sounds like shit. You compress it and you beat the shit out of it. Who cares? You might, if you're a digital music person and you think digital music sounds better than actual uncompressed waves, and I know that CDs are somewhat digital. If you believe that MP3s sound better than uncompressed audio, you think Taco Bell is genuine Mexican food. I mean, it's just not the same.
Cilantro?
Chipotle is Chipotle.
Yeah. You're the Chipotle. Now that said, Taco Bell and Chipotle are everywhere. So shit rises to the top.
Floor.
Yeah.
What do we know? What do we know? We're here talking about Poison and Motley Crue, and we're not making.
And by the way, Michael B., half of the bands that you listed earlier about all the music that they like, Childish Gambino, not rock. I mean, that's you just made my point.
Genre. It's a different genre.
Yeah, you made my point for me, is that the majority of these bands that people are into are not rock bands. We're not embracing rock in the United States. We need to.
Just in the United States, we're not.
And look at that. We got Michael B to spend money. Now Johnny loves him.
Yeah, now Johnny's going to take his side. He's like, Michael B, you're wrong. You're stupid. Michael B is right.
Michael B is actually on the Sunday night show with me on Sundays now.
Oh, good. And he's obviously a Boston guy because he mentions Great Woods. He mentions Great Woods.
I know. I heard my ears ringing with Michael B.
Uh-oh.
Mankuta doesn't know how to change strings.
Hey, Michael, this is now starting to ring in my head. Michael, did you go to Brandeis University and outside of Boston?
Wait a minute.
Because if you
see that Michael B?
He might be a Michael that I know. Did Michael used to run the Kiss Otaku website?
The what?
Yeah.
He'll know.
He'll answer the question.
He'll know.
Del Taco is good, Alice.
Del Taco of the taco. Yeah, I mean, and by the way, I didn't really know what good Mexican food was until I moved to the Southwest.
Same here.
I don't care.
Until I moved to California, I didn't know cilantro existed.
Yeah. Brian Davies, Brandeis is not an all-girls school. You're thinking of Bowdoin. Yeah, the Mexican here is, there's a place, was it Los Dos something or other? I forget what I think it's Los Dos Hermanos or whatever, but there's a place here that's just ridiculous.
Sounds good.
Yes. By the way, Hellstorm, my favorite band of the past years is Black Star Riders. Yeah, fantastic band featuring Ricky Warwick from The Almighty, who's been around for 35 years, Scott Gorham from Thin Lizzy, Damon Johnson from Brother Kane. I mean, these are guys, it's a great band, but they're not new. They've been around for 30, 40 years, these guys.
Damon Johns from Shark Tank. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Damon Johnson, that name. I just friended him on Facebook, I think.
Yes, Damon used to be with Alice Cooper, and he was in Brother Kane, and he's a phenomenal guitar player. Brother Kane, there's another band. You know, you talk about bands if you want to move on from the 80s and into the 90s. There's a band in the 90s that should have been massive. They had the biggest rock song of 1995 on the radio in America called And Fools Shine On. Find me a radio station that plays it today. We just disposed it. I don't know why, but we did.
And Adam brings up probably one of the best Mexican places out here in California, El Coyote on Sunset. Yeah, if you don't know that place, that was like a rock and roll rest stop back in the day of the Sunset Strip, like all the rock stars used to
like
hang
Roscoe's.
out there. And today, yeah, Roscoe's also
like Roscoe's, yeah.
Yeah, and there's still real institutions there, really good stuff. So
yeah, Roscoe's, Cantor's, El Coyote, obviously the Rainbow. The Rainbow's food got better.
Whiskey.
Yeah, the whiskey.
It couldn't get worse. Speaking of worse, let me give today's show and tell guitar hint, because I forgot to give it earlier. Even though Sandra asked me earlier, I didn't have a chance to insert it. Today's show and tell guitar hint. It's a guitar. It's a celebrity guitar.
Oh, nice.
And there was a movie named after this guitar. So think about it. There was a movie named after this guitar.
That reminds me, John, we were talking about this earlier. A couple of weeks ago, you broke out, I think it was in Norland. And yes. I told you I had a tobacco burst that was very similar to your Norland.
Lo and behold.
And there it is. And I'm a fan of the plain top without a whole lot of flame.
So am I in a lot of cases.
I've got some guitars that have some flame, and I'm also not a huge burst guy, although now I have probably half a dozen guitars that have bursts on them. But this is, when you pulled out that Norland, it reminded me of this, which is a 2001 standard.
Which is basically Ace Frehley. If you're a fan of Ace Frehley, you like those guitars a lot.
Absolutely. And I mean, obviously,
both of us are.
I'm a huge Ace Frehley. He's the guy that made me want to play guitar. And if you'll notice, you'll see the little black spray on the headstock. This is the only Les Paul I own that's had a headstock job. For those that don't know what a headstock job is, that's because the 17-degree angle of a Les Paul headstock, if you don't have it set up right and it drops, the headstock splits. The headstock cracks and you're screwed until you get some tight bond and you have it clamped. Now, that said, I normally wouldn't buy a guitar that had a headstock job, or it was a time when I wouldn't buy a guitar that had a headstock job until I found this one, and now I have no problem with headstock guitars. This thing is heavy as fuck. I don't think it's weight relieved or chambered, although every Les Paul standard since 1983 allegedly has the 9-hole Swiss cheese in it. But
right.
this thing has got to be 10 pounds plus. So if it's weight relieved in any way, shape, or form, because wood gets heavier and more dense as it ages, this thing has become, it's a 2001. This thing in 20 years has become super, super heavy, and it's one of my favorite. I owned over a dozen Les Pauls. This is one of my favorites of all time, and it's the only one that's had a headstock job on it, which you can tell for a lot of people. When they do a headstock job, you'll see there's usually a spray. You see the black spray? Mm-hmm. In order to hide the fact that there's been a headstock job, they'll oftentimes spray down here by the neck joint as well.
To make the back of the neck look kind of bursty.
Make it look symmetrical, which is kind of what they did in the 70s with the Norlands.
Right.
There was always that sort of different color. There was a burst that went to the back of the neck on the Norlands. So when they do a headstock job on these guitars, this is a sure sign that if you're buying a Les Paul and you want to know if the headstock's been cracked or there's been a job on it, first of all, you want to take a good look at it. If there's spray on it like this, take a black light to it and you'll see that the crack will come through the paint. This one here is so well done, you can barely see the seam. I don't think that the headstock split completely off of it, but it was cracked enough. And at this time, when Gibson was making these guitars at this point, this was a part of the quote-unquote good wood era of the late 90s, early 2000s. The pickups in it are the same exact pickups that go in a Les Paul Custom. So this is, I just wanted to pull this out because when you pulled out your Norland, giggity, when you pulled out your Norland, I mean, this looks almost exactly the same as that guitar without the volute on the headstock and without the pancake body. But it's essentially the same exact guitar.
It's really nice. And
it plays so well.
I think so many of the current Les Paul finishes in Cherry Burst look really just kind of cheap and fake. There's something to my eyes anyway about a Tobacco Burst that I think looks great. I like the Tobacco Burst. I like the Lemon Bursts. I just think those just look better. You know, they don't look as cheap as a lot of the of the Cherry Sunbursts. Some of the Cherry Bursts get yes, you can. You can play Meshuggah's Bleed on it. Except I'd have to down tune it, and I don't want to do that. Some of the Cherry Bursts, and I have a couple of Cherry Bursts. I have a couple that fit into this category. They tend to be what they call clown burst, and that is that the red is so bright. No, that's what it's called, Johnny. It's really what it's called, clown burst, and it's because the red is so bright. And then it fades into a really bright yellow, and then into almost a white over by the pickups and the bridge. That it is almost garish. It's almost neon. The color is not. And by the way, all of the guitars. This is the funny thing about the bursts. The original bursts from 58 through 60 were the same color. They were all painted the same color. This and a Cherry Burst were painted exactly the same. They just faded differently into different colors. There was no Tobacco Burst and Cherry Burst or anything like that back in the late 50s through 58 through 60. They were all one burst. It was just a burst. It was considered a sunburst guitar, and they all faded differently, which is interesting. And because there were different layers of paint, because it was all being done by hand, you got different shades. Now everything is a burst. It's Unburst and Tobacco Burst and Iced Tea Burst and Honey Burst and Desert Burst.
Burst.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually one called Unburst, which is basically a pre-faded sunburst. So what you would do is you would get the cherry burst. See, it's funny because we joked about the Ernie Ball Van Halen guitars as being these guitars that had problems with their UV protection and they faded. But that's the desirable thing with a burst guitar is the fade, because each one fades differently.
Let's see.
And so
condom burst, diaper burst, my yeah, what appendix burst.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of bursts going on.
I'm not a huge burst guy, and I'm also not a huge flame top on a Les Paul, a huge flame top fan.
Yeah, same here.
But when you whipped out, tobacco burst is a great finish because it's elegant and understated at the same time.
It's subtle, and you just kind of want to age it even more. You know, the more you play it. I always say this about Les Pauls: the more you play it, the wear just makes it better and better and better.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, that's that natural relicking.
Yeah, and there's something about like I won't treat a Jackson the same. Like if I get like a paint chip on the back of my Jackson, I'm like, fuck, I screwed up the back of my Jackson. That sucks. But like a Les Paul, I'm like, all right, that looks kind of cool.
Yeah, you give it a little bit of it gives it a little bit of, I don't want to say the mojo, but it gives it some character and some individuality. And I like certain things, like this one has Grover tuners on it that came stock. Sometimes you get the Gibson Clusen deluxe tuners. This has the 490, 498 pickups in it, which what comes in the custom now. And by the way, I just picked up a not brand new, but a 2019 Les Paul. It's called a Les Paul Standard Original 50s. Now, what happened, for those people that don't know, and we're actually talking about guitars. What happened is in 2019, new management took over Gibson, and they finally returned the Les Paul Standard to the Les Paul Standard we all loved. Not weight relief. There's no Swiss cheese hole. There's no chambering. It's one big slab of mahogany with a maple top on it. Burstbucker 1 and Burstbucker 2 pickups in it, which are as closely approximating the original PAFs from back in the day. They made it almost to the 1959 specs without making it a custom shop guitar. And the new Les Pauls, the original series, which is original 50s, original 60s, they've broken it down to two different categories. There's original and modern. The Les Paul Classic and the Les Paul High Performance and all those things are in the modern side. The Les Paul Original series, you got the original 50 and the original 60s, and they have different neck profiles, different pickup configurations. And the original 50s and 60s are the best Les Pauls Gibson has made in 20 years. And that's a fact. They are phenomenally well-made guitars. They sound right. They're built right. The specs are right. They feel exactly the way the legendary Les Pauls are. So kudos to Gibson for finally getting rid of Hendy Juskowitz and all the guys that were fucking up that company and making the proper Les Paul. And that's the only reason why I bought.
Wait, Hendy Juskowitz, wasn't that David Lee Roth's actual birth name? I think Gene just got rid of Hendy Juskowitz.
Yeah, Henry Juskowitz. He was Henry was the guy that, or has Juskavich, if you want to pronounce it that way. Henry was the guy that saved Gibson originally. He was a guy that came in and brought them back from the abyss of the Norland years. And then they got to a point with Les Pauls where they started doing too many different models. You had the standard, the traditional, the classic, the goth, the whatever. And the standard, for whatever reason, the standard was the one that they started screwing with and putting push-pull pots and circuit boards and routing and chambering and all these stupid things that were not the standard. The standard Les Paul is exactly what I talked about. Orange drop capacitors, 2 PAF style humbuckers in it, fixed bridge, 1 slab of mahogany, 1 slab of maple, decent paint job, great fretwork, ebony fretboard, inlays, all the shit that you would expect. That's your Les Paul standard. Stop fucking with it. It's like when Coke changed the flavor of their new Coke. When they started screwing. Don't. That's not what we bought it for. It's like what Ford's doing with the Mustang right now. Ford, stop it. You built shitty Mustangs for a while in the early 2000s, and then you figured it out, got it right, and now you're fucking with it again. Stop it. Build what the people want, and what the people wanted out of a Les Paul is what they're doing now with the original series. They're fantastic. If you want the modern stuff is great.
Build a flying car already. That's what we want.
Let me tell you something. I'm loving the new Corvette. I think the new Corvette is
new Corvette looks great.
Like a USA Ferrari 360.
It looks like a McLaren. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like a USA McLaren.
Really, I think it looks like the Ferrari 360 or the 430. It's really, really, really similar in design. By the way, if you guys are not paying attention to the chat, we've been getting some really educated guesses about what tonight's show and tell guitar is. Some really good guesses. I said it was named after a movie, and we're getting some really good ones. We're getting some really good guesses in there. So keep it up, and make sure you leave a thumbs up on the video. We appreciate that. Tugrats? No, that's close. But have you guys been watching the chat? Because the chat is like on a roll with. I mean, everything's a porn. Everything's a porn name. It's great.
Yeah, false flag. You're right. That Zakk Wylde half B half SG thing was a piece of shit. God, was that hideous?
The little Spermaid, Cock to the Future, Hitter in the Shitter, Volume 6. That's close.
Here's the interesting thing about it. They hit her in the Shitter series. They lost me at Volume 4. The first 3 were classic, but when they went into the second trilogy, I was like, oh, come on.
When they switched the main actor, that's when
they brought Hayden Christensen in, the whole fucking franchise went down. When they
added the CGI extra scenes in the bar, that's where they lost me for the special edition
when
of
Greedo shot first.
4.
The musical numbers.
Greedo and Han Solo are in a circle jerk, and Greedo came first. It's like.
By the way, I'm not sure you know this, but I found this out in the special edition of that and Hitter in the Shitter Part 5. Greedo's full name is Greedo Bukkake. Did you know that? I'm not sure you knew that.
I thought it was Bukkakewitz.
Well, he does have the nose.
Yes. Star Wars Attack of the Moans. That's a close one. Fisting Fireman 9. Wow, you really went deep into that series.
So they say.
So they say. Star Horrors, Back to the Fluffer. Grinding Nemo. All Dongs Go to Heaven.
I like All Dongs Go to Heaven. That's a pretty good one.
That one. There's a ton of good ones in there. I'm just gonna.
May I push in your stool?
The Empire Strikes on the back.
It's only polite.
You guys came in that. You're braver than I thought.
Return of the Head Eye. Let's see. You've Got Male Genitalia, Jurassic Pork.
Jesus Christ.
Beverly Hills 90210 Ho. Let's see. White Men Can't Hump. Romancing the Bone.
Here's the thing. Some of these are real.
Meet Joe's Black Cock. A lot of these are actually real. Dirty Dancing with Wolves.
Where is that one?
Edward Penis Hands. Buffy the Vampire Layer. Hand Solo. Big Bang Theology. Let's see. The Load Warrior.
Oh my
Who's
God.
Eating Gilbert's Grape? Missionary Positions Impossible. Love that. Womb Raider. The Da Vinci Load. Rumple Foreskin. Texas Vibrator Massacre. Speaking of which, Bang Energy Drink, one of our favorite
Speaking
sponsors,
of vibrators,
delicious Bang Energy Drink. Make sure to get the taste of genitalia out of your mouth with new Swirly Pop Bang Energy Drink. Yummy. There you go. So thank you for all the guesses. Nobody has gotten it right so far, but keep those guesses
They were so
coming.
close. So
keep
close,
those guesses coming. Some of those are very close. The Cockfather, All Hands on Dick.
All Hands on Deck is great.
Love it. Just love it. Octopussy. That was a James Bond movie.
Yeah, legitimate. Yeah.
yeah,
Nice.
I saw that one.
Very cool. Top Gun. Alice Martinez. What? Top Gun. Oh,
Top
I see.
Hun.
You were actually taking an actual guess, not giving a porn name. All right. Shitty gangbang.
Oh God.
Anyway, let's so we talked about David Lee Roth. So if you're going to see Kiss anytime soon, yeah, look for
Are we wrapping up the David Lee Roth story now?
Yes, we've come full circle now. Just to put a little.
By the way, we've come full circle is my guess for the movie.
Yeah. Speaking of circle jerk. Yeah, so enjoy your painter if you're seeing the Kiss tour. Let's talk about the big debacle over at Deane Guitars now.
Oh my God.
Holy shit. For those not following along, Deane Guitars' biggest sponsor at one point was Dave Mustaine. They lost Dave Mustaine, and then they went over to do you hear music?
I'm just playing chords.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, I'm just giving you a little background music.
A little background music, you little bastard. Let's see.
I didn't know this.
I'm your ice cream man. Stop me when I'm passing by. Over my banana, Dixie cups. All flavors and push-ups too. I'm your ice cream man. Stop me when I'm passing by. I'm your ice cream man. Stop me when I'm passing by. You know, all my flavors are satisfied.
I was just doing a walking blues thing. I wasn't even in the right key. Stop it. I'm trying not to get us flagged.
Neither was I.
I'm trying not to get us flagged.
False flagged?
Oh.
No, that's you, Johnny, under a different name.
It's true. It really is.
Johnny's paying himself a fortune tonight. Thank you, False Flag. All right, let's move on. So Dimebag Daryl was currently Deane Guitars' biggest name.
Save the fucking company is what he did.
Yeah, basically in 2000. Well, let's see. In 2004, Deane signed on with Deane Guitars. He loved Deane Guitars in the 70s and early 80s. He went with Washburn originally in the 90s, and then as soon as his contract with Washburn expired, he took the chance and jumped over to Deane. He really wanted to work with Dean Zielinski, the founder of Deane, who actually was with the company until 2008. But Dimebag signed on in 2004, and crazy and sad, 3 weeks after he signed, he was killed. And the music world lost an amazing talent that we still remember fondly. But Deane kept his legacy alive.
No. Let's make this fucking perfectly clear. Deane didn't do shit for Dimebag Daryl's legacy.
Reverse it. Then.
No. Deane cashed in on Dimebag Daryl's name. Because prior to being associated with Dimebag Daryl, Deane Guitars were a persona non grata in the United States. They were done. Dean Zielinski resurrected his company. By the way, God love him for it. I'm glad that he and Dime had a relationship. But 3 weeks later, when Dime was killed in Columbus, Ohio, since then, Deane has milked the tit of Daryl's memory.
And his estate.
And by the way, Rita Haney, who is Dime's basically common law wife, she's his longtime girlfriend and the executor of his estate, has benefited from that. She got some money for it, not as much as she probably deserved. And that's really where this comes from, is the fact that Deane has made a boatload of money licensing Dimebag Daryl's name for a variety of guitars for the better part of 15 years. And now they feel that tit has run dry. And they've decided to try and screw Rita, and she's not taking it. Well, I get Rita's back on this deal. Deane Guitars have milked Daryl's memory. They're not preserving his legacy. They've been cashing in on his name.
To be fair, it was mutually beneficial to both the estate and to Deane. But hold on, early days, Dime signed on because he wanted to work with Dean Zielinski. They had a good relationship.
And Dean's no longer with the company.
Right. Well, hold on. Let's go through the timeline. 2004, he signs on with Dean Zielinski. All's good. Then Dime gets killed. Dean says, we're gonna, do the right thing. And they did for a long while. They were doing the right thing. Then Dean left the company in 2008, and it was basically going into the hands of a guy named Elliot Rubinson. And Elliot Rubinson basically said, okay, I'm going to bring Deane higher. And he was doing that. And he was basically bringing more Dimebag models out. He was,
but by the way, which is a great example of Dimebag models that Dimebag never fucking played.
But he designed. That's
the point I'm trying to point out, is though they put out 9 million fucking Dimebag Daryl models that Daryl would never have played or never okayed. They were all built in China or Indonesia, and they cashed in on it. Dime only played like 2 or 3 different style guitars with Deane. And by the way, he played Washburn. Washburn had the same guitar. That was the one he won in the guitar contest. The thing that I have a problem with Deane guitars is that they cashed in and made a bazillion models and just slapped Dime's name on the headstock and cashed in on it. That to me just seemed really disingenuous.
But the thing is, a lot of those designs came from the estate, from drawings that Dime had done. And the estate basically says, okay, make this. This was a guitar Dime wanted you to make. And these were Dime's designs. So I could still see, I mean, look, you know, the Rhodes guitar, if you look at Jackson, the Jackson Rhodes, Randy didn't play for long. He had it for what, 3 months? A Jackson Rhodes? I mean, sure, the Concorde, Randy played a lot, but the Black Jackson Rhodes, the final design for a Jackson Rhodes guitar was basically a guitar that Randy played for 3 months. He designed the Concorde, and then Grover Jackson, modified it to Randy's specs as he asked. But that main guitar that we know as the Rhodes today was only in Randy's hands for 3 months. It's similar to Dime. Dime basically, sure, he played those 2 designs, but it's like, the Razorback.
But here's the thing, though.
Razorback was a design that Dime drew out.
Right, but did Jackson then, after the fact, go in and say, hey, we're going to release 15 different models? Just because Dime drew a fucking picture doesn't mean it's a guitar model.
But he designed this. But he designed.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't design shit. He drew a picture with fucking lightning or fire on it. He didn't design the pickups. He didn't design the headstock. He drew pictures. And by the way, I love Dime. I've got Dime's back on this thing. But Deane fucking milked him and milked the estate. Now, again, Rita cashed the check. She took the money. So more power to her. Look, I happen to know things about Dime's personal finances and stuff because I was involved with a charity thing after he got shot, because he was friends with a good friend of mine at a radio station I worked at in Boston. We did a lot of charity shit to help pay for Dime's funeral. I was intimately involved with this thing. We got licensed a T-shirt that we could sell at a radio station. We gave all the proceeds to Rita to help pay, because Dime didn't have health insurance. A lot of people don't know that. Musicians don't have a good union where they have great health care coverage. So Dime didn't have the money to pay for his own goddamn funeral. So Rita had to go through charity things to get it done. So the fact that she got paid by Deane Guitars for a lot of things and took that money, more power to her. That was her choice. That said, Deane has not been upfront with paying her the money, just like Kramer with Eddie Van Halen, and just like many other guitar players who signed many other endorsement deals with many other companies. The deal went bad when management changed at the company, and they've decided to fuck the guy that has kept them in the black for the better part of 20 years.
But this is where we need some history here. Let me finish this history lesson here. So Dean Zelensky left Deane Guitars in 2008. Elliot Rubinson took over, and he was continuing to build up the company. The relationship there between Rita and Elliot at that time was good. Now, the problem is when Elliot died, because Elliot died a few years later, and then his son, Evan Rubinson, inherited the company. And the problem with that is Evan is not a good businessman. Evan is where the disputes started of these royalties aren't getting to the estate. These extra designs are being farmed out that Rita's not getting paid on that she should be. This is where the dispute is starting, is with the son. And he basically inherited the company, and he's not doing the right thing. And that's where this sudden clash has been building up, is with him. So basically, Rita said, look, you haven't paid for, designs that we gave you. You've made imports that we should be getting some from. You've made modified models that we should be getting some from. There are photo ads that you keep rerunning that every time you rerun with Dime's photo, we're supposed to get royalties on, and we haven't.
Right.
And Evan's basic response was, look, this is a business. We are short of wood. We are short of sales. Guitar sales are way down, and you have to have a give and take. So if you're unhappy with the way we are treating you, look, Dime hasn't been alive in 16 years. You know, maybe we don't need him as much as we think we do, and maybe you should take his estate somewhere else. And Rita basically said to that, you know what? Fuck you, we will. And there it is. So Rita's suing Dean Guitars, and
rightly so. They have a fucking contract.
Well, wait. And Rita's going to basically burst that bubble because Dean without Dime, there's a bumper sticker for you. Dean without Dime, what else do they have? They still have, I think, Kerry King on there, you know, who basically is more associated with BC Rich than anything.
I'm going to quote Henry Hill in Goodfellas. Business is down. Fuck you. Pay me. They have a contract. They have a contract. Unless there's a clause in that contract that says if materials become difficult to obtain or if the business model changes, we will reduce your royalty by percentage. If they don't have that, if Dean can't provide that, fuck you. Pay me. They're screwing Rita, and they've been screwing Rita for a long time.
And again, he's got that attitude, and she basically is sticking to her guns.
Good, well, you don't screw with Rita Haney. She doesn't. She's a
different type. She's a different type of shredder.
She's a Texas girl, and she will not take shit.
She's become a businesswoman.
She's on top of the cash cow.
That was thrown into her lap, and she adapted to it, and that's now her business.
Hellstorm brings up a good point. I bet the next Dime guitar will be under Wild Audio, which are made by Schecter. By Schecter, by the way.
Yeah, the bets are, and I agree with this. Wild Audio is Zach Wild.
Yes,
because
it's a partnership with Schecter.
He was very close with Dime as a friend. And he basically gives Rita all the respect in the world. And I have a feeling that is where she's going to go. Schecter, of course, with open arms, would take that cash cow and do the right thing. And
sure they would.
You know, where's that going to leave? Where's that going to leave Dean? It really is going to fuck him.
No,
Dean that's their own fault. That's their own fault.
This is the thing, you know, a lot like Slash and Zach. Really sort of resurrected the Gibson Les Paul in the 80s because nobody was playing Gibson Les Pauls until Slash and Zach resurrected that brand. And by the way, Gibson has done right by both of those guys, especially Slash, by making him basically a corporate ambassador and paying it forward, which is the right thing to do. Dean doesn't exist today without Dimebag. That's a fucking fact.
100%.
That's a fact. They had Dime and they had Mustaine. Those were the two big names. And somebody actually mentioned it in the chat, and I didn't get a chance to acknowledge it because we were both ranting at the time. But they said it makes you wonder why Michael Batio, or Batio, depending on how you want to pronounce it, Michelangelo.
Batio, I think.
Yeah, but the reason why Michelangelo left Dean, and why did Dave Mustaine leave Dean, and why is Dean losing endorsees?
Money. It's all about money.
It's because their business model is bullshit, and the new kid that's running the company is not doing business the way and not living up to the contracts that his father and his company agreed to. And I get Rita's back on this thing. I think Dean has been milking the Dime tit for a long time. Now Rita keeps signing the contract. It's none of our business what she chooses to do and how she chooses to, I don't want to say profit, but continue to sustain her life on the name of her departed boyfriend. She has every right to do that. More power to them. As long as Vinny, and who's also passed now, as long as the family, Jerry and the family and everybody are okay with the way that Rita is doing business based on Daryl's name, then Rita has every right to cash in and do everything she can. Fact of the matter is, Dean Guitars has a contract and they're not living up to the contract, and Rita has every right to sue them, and I hope she fucking bankrupts them.
I want to be a fly on the wall in that courtroom. I'd love to just sit there. Paulie and I'll go in with bags of popcorn. Johnny, where are you? I was getting gummy worms. Well, come on, sit down. It's starting. So, and you could just see what's happening is the judge is going to go, okay, so do you have a contract? Yes, Your Honor, but business was down, so we didn't honor it.
Fuck you, pay me.
You had a contract, correct? Yes, we did. But we couldn't pay them very well because I'm sorry, you couldn't pay them because why? Our business was down, but you had a contract, right? Yes, Your Honor, but pay them. I'm sorry, what?
It's funny because if you look at that list of endorsees, it's a virtual who cares of guitar players. I mean, obviously, Bret Michaels, not known as a guitar player. John Conley is a great guitar player with Seven Dust. Nobody cares. Leslie West is fucking dead. Dimebag is dead. Michael Schenker is Michael Schenker is over the hill and nobody gives a shit. But I love Michael.
No one is buying a Leslie West tribute guitar.
Right. And very few people are buying the Michael Schenker black and white flying V.
No,
they're just not. And if they want one, if they want the Michael Schenker flying V, they're buying Jackson or Gibson. They're buying the Gibson flying V Dime, it was the biggest name on that list. Dime and Kerry King are the two biggest names on that list, neither of whom are active today.
Kerry is more associated with BC Rich anyway.
That's my point. I mean, the point is Dime was the marquee endorsee, the marquee legacy artist for Deane guitars.
Absolutely.
If they're screwing Rita Haney and they're screwing Dime, they are fucking done. Deane as a viable guitar company is done.
Yeah, I think we better start saving our shekels to buy Deane because it's going to be up for sale soon at a pennies on the dollar.
By the way, I don't wish anybody failure, but if you're going to screw somebody in a business deal, and especially somebody whose name and legacy has sustained your company since 3 weeks after he passed, how many of those fucking Dimebag guitars do you think they've sold?
And you know what? I love the
Millions?
Dime model. I love the Dime model, but here's the thing. As a fan of Dime and out of respect, I'm not going to support that company if they're fucking with his legacy.
Nope. I happen to not like the model. I'm not a fan of the model, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, you've made a deal, and that guy has kept your company viable. Deane doesn't have a majority of those endorsers that are on that list that Johnny was just showing if Dime weren't their endorsee, because they wouldn't have the goddamn money to pay those guys. He saved Deane guitars.
I agree.
Prior to Dimebag, the only people that we know that you can name, and the only reason why I can name them is because I'm a fucking nerd, that played Deane guitars that I can remember, Rick Emmett, Elliot Easton. They played Deane Cadillacs.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the Deane Cadillac.
The Cadillac.
I think the Deane Cadillac, it's obviously a Les Paul knockoff. I think an original American Deane Cadillac is a great fucking guitar. That guitar, if you can find the original, 70s and 80s.
The ones from the
Cadillac,
80s.
Yeah, those are great guitars. I had one of the reissues, and I sold it, and I kind of regret selling it. I had the Cadillac Select, whatever they called it.
I think they're ugly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I get it. I think the Dime guitar is ugly as well.
I like them.
And look, Elliot Easton is also more known for Mockingbird.
I just friended him on Facebook
BC Rich Mockingbird.
But the point being, that was the guitar that I liked from Deane.
Yeah, right there.
And Rick Emmett. Rick Emmett played them from Triumph. Those are the only two guys that I can remember that played Deanes.
That's like the classic right there.
Yeah, that's the guitar I remember from Deane. That headstock obviously is a variation on what Gibson used that headstock originally for the Explorer and the Modern and the Flying V, and it didn't work. So they changed it to the hockey stick. Yeah.
Well, so ugly.
And Keith Campbell, that's right. Sammy Hagar played the Deanes as well.
Yeah.
He had the red I Can't Drive 55. That's
the red I Can't Drive 55 guitar is the exact guitar that Dimebag allegedly designed.
And you know what's funny? They did not. They didn't make a Sammy Hagar edition that they could have rode that wave.
Maybe, but Deane Guitars was on the way to Kramerland and obscurity before Dime saved that guitar. If Dime didn't have that Washburn Star guitar and then gone to the Deane model of that guitar, Deane wouldn't exist today as a guitar company. I honestly believe that. Elliot Easton is one of the great underrated guitar players of his era because, let's face it, the Cars were never really known as a guitar band. But Elliot is a fantastic guitar player, and he played the Deane Cadillac. And the Deane Cadillac, to me, is a great guitar. But because I love Les Pauls, it's a variation on the Les Paul.
The Les Paul is way prettier. That's such an ugly. It looks.
It's a Les Paul with an Explorer top. It's a Les Paul with an Explorer top.
It's Les Paul.
It's Les Paul.
It's Les Paul, definitely.
Which I think we can all agree is a good thing. Les Paul would be a good thing for everybody.
There you go. Yeah, I just think it's ugly as sin. And look, at the end of the day, right now, Rita has, I'm sure, people knocking at her door.
Sure.
You know, I'm sure Washburn would say, please put us back on the map. And I'm sure Schechter is rolling out the red carpet as Zach hand walks her over there. And I think that's where she'll end. And she'll get the same type of deal for Dime that Zach got with them. And they'll do well. They'll put them on the map. And as a fan, the fans will support that. They will absolutely turn their back on Deane before they turn their back on Dimebag.
Fans don't really give a shit about the name on the headstock outside of certain guitar brands. They care about who plays the guitar. And never a better example than that, to bring it back to Johnny, Eddie Van Halen. When Eddie Van Halen played Kramer, everybody wanted Kramer. When Eddie Van Halen played Ernie Ball, everybody wanted Ernie Ball. When he played Peavy, I mean, there's a great example of star power dictating the business model. And Deane forgot that. At least Deane Zielinski got it. And Deane Zielinski, by the way, great guitar builder, a legend in the industry. And Deane Guitars today is not Deane Zielinski, just like Jackson Guitars today is not Grover Jackson. So let's make that distinction right away. You cannot blame the guy whose name is on the headstock for the business decisions of the company that bears his name right now.
No, he's retired. He's
out. Yeah. So
and Elliot Rubinson, who took over, who was very good to Dime, he's passed away. It's his son.
Right. And that goes back to what goes way back to our musical discussion earlier. The reverence that we have for certain bands doesn't translate to the next generation. This is a great example of the exact same behavior we were talking about with music. Is the next generation doesn't look at Dimebag as a guitar legend. They see him as a guy that's been dead for 16 years. And it's been that long? It's 2018, 14 years. That's the thing. You can't shit on a legend. You can't shit on a legacy unless you've got some genuine reason. Even guys that have acted like assholes in their life are still revered. And this guy is shitting on the widow of a dead legend. And that's a bad business move. I don't know anybody that's going to say, you know what we should do? The idea that he would actually say that he would actually say to her, if this is a true quote, well, Dime's been dead for years.
He said he's been dead for 16 years. And, well, if you don't like it, maybe you should take it somewhere else. Those are quotes. Those are quotes.
I mean, so if a guy says that to somebody, I don't give a shit who you are. If you're the wife or the family member of anybody and somebody says that to you, you're lucky you don't give him fucking 5 across the cocksucker, because that's just bullshit. That's a bullshit thing to say. You could say, hey, look, our business model, the requirements of our business, the materials and the cost of doing business right now is not conducive to us continuing our contractual agreement with you and the estate of Daryl. If you want to renegotiate this deal, we're open to it. But unfortunately, at this point, we're unable to live up to the terms of the contract. That's how you deal with that.
Spot on.
That's how you fucking deal with it.
Because this is going to put your guitar company like real close to bankruptcy, probably. Deanes are not flying off the shelf, and the only ones that do sell are the Dime models. And like Keith Campbell says, Dime fans are indeed loyal as fuck.
When you walk to the Guitar Center, the only ones you see are the Dime models.
Right. And by the way, Eric, the #1 Van Halen post, it's actually only 16 years. In October, it'll be 17. Suck my balls.
They do math different up there, I think.
Yes, obviously. Yes. It's the metric system. Dime was arguably, with the exception of Mark Tremonti, Dime was the last Guitar Hero. The last.
There's other guitar heroes out there. I mean, Steve Vai, George Lynch.
No. The last.
He means after Vai and after Lynch.
After those guys.
That came out after.
Yeah,
you're right.
With the exception of Mark Tremonti.
I thought you meant who was left. Yes.
No, who's a stellar guitar player. Mark Tremonti will never get the credit as a guitar player because people hate Creed and Alter Bridge and Tremonti, and he gets really ripped apart, but he's a phenomenal guitar player. Dime was the last guitar hero. He was the last guy that I know people say Alexi Leo, and he was great too, but not to the level of Dime. Dime was a guy who was up on the Mount Rushmore of amazing guitar players. Whether you agree or not, that's a fact.
No, absolutely. And look at his influences. Kiss, Eddie Van Halen. I mean, he grew up with basically loving what his fans loved. And he was good to his fans, and he was a nice guy from what everyone says. Who could
he was a great guy.
Like
he was
that?
A great fucking guy.
Who could say a bad word about him other than this fucking schmuck son at Dean? He's been dead 16 years. Do you think anyone still cares? Hey, stupid. Why do you think you're fucking making his guitars? Do you think anyone cares about Randy Rhoads, who died in 82? Yes! Rhoads guitars are one of the two big sellers for Jackson. You got your fucking Rhoads guitars and you got your soloists. Those are your big sellers.
Yeah, Dime was a solid human being, and great, and I support Rita 100% in this thing. Now, by the way, I don't always, and I don't think any of us, if you knew Rita, and if you've seen some of the things Rita has done over the years, you wouldn't always agree with what's going on with her. Sometimes she has a tendency to rub some people the wrong way, not unlike Sharon Osbourne and so many other people in the music industry. But Dime was a genuinely nice guy. Nobody has a bad word to say about Dime. Nobody has a bad word to say about Dime. And if you ever came in contact with him, and I was lucky enough to do it several times, nobody ever walked away. Dime made you feel like you were his friend, and he was a radio friend. You'd see him at concerts and shit. But Dime made you feel like you were buddies, like you went to fucking high school together. He had that it. He was the happiest, coolest, completely unassuming. He was one of the greatest guitar players of his generation, and you would never know it until he picked up a guitar because he didn't have that air of arrogance about him. He's just a cool dude.
He was a fan who made it. That's the thing. He was a fan who made it. He related to his audience just like, the same thing. He was in awe of meeting Eddie Van Halen. He was in awe of meeting Gene and Paul. He was in awe of, that's it. That's his thing. He was a fan who got into the industry and made it.
By the way, I got to ask a question to Edwin Crane. Why should Gibson stop making Les Pauls? I'm interested.
That's the only thing Gibson really sells.
No, that's not true. The SG is the top-selling guitar.
Over the Les Paul?
Yes. The SG is the best-selling. The SG is the best-selling guitar Gibson makes.
I did not know this.
Yeah,
I did not. Are you sure about that?
Yes. It's the strangest thing.
Shocked.
It's the strangest thing.
I learned that now, right now.
Yeah. I was shocked when I heard it too. Since 1961, when they introduced the Les Paul SG, the SG guitar has been the best-selling guitar in the Gibson lineup. I was fucking shocked to hear it too. I think it's because it's significantly cheaper than an actual Les Paul overall. Yeah, you Google it. It's the strangest thing in the world. It's the best. I was shocked to hear it. I don't know why, but it is.
I'm astonished right now.
Me too.
Well,
I was
young.
Yeah.
When I walk into a guitar store, all I see are fucking Les Paul after Les Paul after Les Paul. I don't see that many SGs. I see a couple.
Most of the Les Pauls are actually locked up.
The good ones, they're cupped up high, yeah, so you can't.
Well, yeah, they're put high, but I'm saying if I look over at the wall in general, I walk into Guitar Center Hollywood, I go in the back room. That's what I'm looking at. As far as Gibson goes, I'm looking at Les Pauls. Yeah, they have a few SGs, but I don't see those on display the same way.
Because they're sold.
Yeah.
Because they sell a lot quicker.
They can't hold on to them.
You know, and Renus Pinkel, yes, Les Pauls are a 60-plus-year-old design. Yes, they are. And
they got it right.
They rarely played above the 12th fret. Incorrect. They are the Les Paul and the Fender Stratocaster are the two greatest guitar designs in the history of guitars, and you can't argue that. If you have a Les Paul and you have a Strat, you can do everything. And there's an argument to be made for a Telly as well, but Les Pauls have now some of them have coil taps, so you can get the Telly sound out of the same guitar. But Les Paul and Fender Stratocaster, 1 and 2, depending on your personal preference, because there is no wrong answer. Everything else is a variation off those two guitars. There's no reason, in my opinion, for them to stop making them, as long as they make them right. And it appears that 2 years ago, they've made the decision to make them right again. I think that they're going to get rid of some of the ancillary models, and I would agree that they've watered down the brand, that style of guitar, a lot like certain other like car companies and other things. They just slap the name on something and go, well, because that name's on it, it'll sell. That can dilute the brand. But a couple of years ago, they made the decision to make those guitars correct again. And I think that it's going to go back to the 1 or 2 flagship models, and the other ancillary versions of it will either be relegated to the Epiphone brand and sold for $500 and $600 a pop based out of Indonesia. And then the rest of the Les Pauls will become a Tiffany guitar again. But I could be wrong on that.
That's funny. Thank you, Music Therapy Laz. He wants to hear me say Les Paul because I have that New York accent.
You put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Les Paul. Yeah, I do. I absolutely.
I hear people also call them Les Pauls.
Lesbian Paul.
It's a Les Paul. His name was Lester Paulfus, so it's Les.
Yeah, Les Paul. But I do put that emphasis on there. So thank you, Music Therapy Laz. Thanks for showcasing my freakishness.
Wayno, I know the last 2 words that Dime said. I also know the bass player in the band that opened that night at the Al Rosa Villa. I got the phone call at like 3:00 in the morning when that happened. October 8, 2004. It was actually technically October 9th when I got the call in Boston, and it was one of the worst nights. You remember, Wayno, the next day on the air, it was an on-air wake, and I almost punched a nationally syndicated talk show host, a guy named Howie Carr, in the face in the break room.
Jimmy Carr?
I almost got fired for it because Howie, who was on WRKO and I think might still be, was a syndicated conservative talk radio host, and he was referring to Dime as dirtbag, literally on October 9th. Wow. On the air on October 9th, and was doing his typical, typical dirtbag metal fans, blah, 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 gun control, blah, 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 all the stupid shit that comes with it. And we happened to be in commercial break. I ran into Howie I think only the first time I've told this story publicly, in the break room. And I'm getting a Pepsi out of the Pepsi machine. I turn to look at Howie and go, hey, man, I was listening to the show a little bit earlier today. And you know that dirtbag guy that you were talking about? And he smiles and goes, yeah. I go, he was my friend. And I hope that fucking Whitey Bulger's guy shoot you in the fucking face and that people are as sensitive the next day. And I walked out of the room just like that. And then I walked down the hallway and walked into the program director's office. He was in the middle of a music meeting, and I knocked on the door, and I just walked in and go, I'm sorry, man. Just so you know, I may have just threatened Howie Carr's life. So if you need to do what you need to do. And I shut the door and walked back out on the air. And I wasn't the only one. Mistress
Come here,
Carey,
you motherfucker. Come here. Get over here. I'll break your fucking head open.
And Mistress Carey, who was the midday chick and is now a syndicated host, also threatened a guy named John DiPietro because
John Biel?
Yeah.
Or John Biel?
Because does Howie work for Fox News now, Hellstorm? All right, great. He's a fucking asshole.
Does he really work for Fox?
Of course he does. Yeah.
Oh wow, that really fits. Wow.
It makes complete sense.
I thought he'd be bussing tables somewhere.
But
like
that was the day,
Coyote or something.
That was the day that the WAAF air staff threatened the midday and afternoon guy at WAAF threatened the air staff of WRKO, and it caused a huge corporate issue. We had a big meeting over it. It was a bad day because Carrie was a very good friend of Dime's, and I was an ancillary radio friend, and we were both very fun. It was a rough day for us on October 9th.
That's fucked up.
He was a fucking asshole. It was a douchebag move to do. And it really almost caused a fight in the hallways of the Intercom building in Boston that day.
Well, Fox News.
Now you've seen behind the curtain.
Fox News heard the word douchebag and like, snap that guy up.
Yeah, it was a bullshit day. That was, I'll never forget the phone call. And he was, and that's why I will vociferously get Rita Haney's back on all of that, because they had a deal and live up to the deal. If you want to renegotiate the deal or you want to terminate the deal, do that. But don't fuck this girl over and don't badmouth the guy who fucking was shot in the face on stage. Seriously?
Yeah, leave a thumbs up on the video for Dime because he would want it that way.
Yeah, by the way, Wayno did ask the question and Johnny hasn't responded because he can't get a word in edgewise. Do you remember the Dime's last two words?
No, I never knew. Never knew that.
Van Halen.
Really?
Turned and looked.
Is that true?
Turned and looked at Vinny and went, Van Halen, because that's what they used to do. That was like their little, it was like, let's have a great fucking show. So they got on stage. He turned and looked at Vinny. Goes, Van Halen, and they fucking started into the song. And that fucking asshole who shall remain unnamed walked on stage. And God bless Officer James Niggemeyer of the Columbus Police Department for coming in and ending that nonsense. God bless that man. Officer James is a goddamn hero, and I will always be thankful, because the phone call we got was that both Vinny and Dime were gone. And Mayhem and a couple other guys that were roadies had been shot. And we had thought literally that both Vinny and Dime were gone, and that was sort of the early reports. And we were thankful to hear that Vinny wasn't. One of their roadies, I think it was Mayhem, who jumped over, Jeff Thompson is his name, jumped on top of Vinny to shield him from the asshole with the gun. And I get uncomfortable talking about it, so I'm sorry.
Well, shout out to our police, who we majorly respect. So thank you. Let's say hi to Michael Smith. Is that Michael the Captain Smith or Michael? Which Michael is it?
It's Michael the Captain Smith.
Is that the Captain? Because there's Michael European Smith also. This is the Captain.
Yeah. Music Therapy Laz. Huh? Johnny say eruption, like eruption. European.
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 Is that Johnny? Is that how you say it? European.
European.
I guess.
Hi, buddy.
I say it like erection. I think I say erection.
Thank you, Laz. And hey, Michael Smith, great to see you, man.
Michael, the Captain
Haven't
Smith,
seen you in a while.
executive producer.
And
let me give an extra shout out. Hello. Let me give a shout out because he made this little girl's day recently, and I just want to acknowledge that on the air. Michael the Captain Smith works with big trains, as you know. And he was
big train.
Love my good and plenty. Good and plenty.
Big train.
Good and plenty. That's what
nobody
they call
knows
me at the whorehouse.
Nobody is giving me credit for that David Lee Roth reference. Son of a bitch.
I'm in the middle of a story giving accolades to Michael the Captain Smith, executive producer, big boss,
do your
maker
fucking
of
thing.
Child's Dreams. Anyway, so Michael Smith is basically taking this very large train down the tracks, across multiple states, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal because this thing's like a Goliath train, and a lot of spectators are coming along. Well, he pulls into one station in Texas, and this little girl is with her father and looks up at him in awe and just kind of waves. And the father says, can my daughter take a photo with Mr. Train Man? She's like really in awe. And Michael just got off the train, stopped to take photos with her. He gave her like a little souvenir pin. And this girl was in heaven. He just made some little girl an amazingly good childhood memory that she'll always be treasuring. And I just want to acknowledge that on the air. What a good man that man is.
And
so
then
thank you.
Then he threw her off the train like Robert De Niro in Midnight Run.
And then he shit on her father's face and says, keep her off the pole.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yep. Yeah. Then he said, you got two choices. I can kick your daughter like a fucking punted football, or I can throw her in the coal bin and we can cook her and get this thing another 3 miles down the track. Your call, buddy.
Boy, you're going to grow up to be a hot little whore like your mom someday.
Oh, my gosh.
Jesus Christ.
This thing got dark.
Wow. That took some turn, man. That took some turn.
That escalated quickly.
I got a whole Blue Rhino's ears because he's too innocent for this.
Holy shit, was that wrong?
Oh, it's wrong.
I'm going to have to go to confession for that.
Me too, and I'm Jewish.
Oi!
So here's what happened. That was
So I'm on a Jew on a train. What are the odds?
I know, right? I take the L going out of Brooklyn over to the deli. And,
Over to Queens. Sit down. We kvetch. We mashugada.
This is where we start. Kiss formed in Queens.
Formed in Queens, and although for some strange reason, Paul Stanley adopts a southern accent. I don't understand. Maybe he was from South Queens.
Anthrax, I knew them when.
I love the fact that all of us, I'm not sure that you know, but y'all is a very, very familiar Jewish phrase.
Taken from a mix of yarmulke for all. Y'all.
Y'all.
And the shawl that my grandmother wears. So y'all shawl.
Hey, y'all is short for why don't we all go to the yeshiva? What the fuck?
Oh, I hope he didn't recommend that little girl to watch the show.
Hi,
no
Ellie.
Little girl, yeah, no little girl should be watching the show. Hi, Ellie.
Wow.
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 Let's talk about let's see, what time are we at?
Yeah, you gotta do guitar time, and I gotta let the dogs out. So what time are you doing? Are you guys done at 8?
What? That's all on Johnny. What time you want to do it, Johnny? 8 tonight?
No, show it soon.
No, I'm saying, what time do you want to end tonight? Do you want to do 8 or 9?
Oh, yeah, 8 o'clock.
8. All right. So we'll do the
you
show
should
and
show the
tell
guitar
now, and then I have a lot of news to bang through. And I mean a lot of news. So
well, I have a limited amount of time. I'm looking at the dogs. So let's do the guitar and I'll tap out after that.
All right. Let's do the show and tell guitar. Today's show and tell guitar brought to you by Vinum Custom Pickups.
By the way, Craig Vinum, thank you for finally giving me something.
Craig Vinum is the first person, no other sponsor has stepped up and mailed Paul anything. I mean, sure, he's got some Swiss picks, but that was thanks to Jason Becker's family.
And they're the best.
Still nothing from Adam at FU Tone. He's waiting for that package.
He's in the chat.
Bang. Do you have a case of Bang Energy drink? Do you have a case of Bang Energy drink, Paulie?
I do not have a case of Bang.
Nope.
Nope.
I didn't think
by the way,
so.
To be fair, I still haven't received my pickup from Craig Vinum. You know why? Because he's sending it to Johnny first.
Oh, no, it'll never get there. It'll never get
Paul, your pickup sounds great, let me tell you.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure you put it in that Wolfgang that somebody else fixed the neck for.
This just happened. This just happened. So
Johnny gets all our packages. No,
so thank you to Craig Vinum for
Craig Vinum. I already have some Vinum pickups, including the ones I display that are waiting for a specific guitar. Johnny has not, and Paul has not. So Craig Vinum, being the mensch he is, has reached out to Paul and Johnny and says, "Hey, you guys are on the show too. We sponsor. What do you want?" And Craig Vinum is sending Paulie a set of custom Vinum pickups and Johnny a set of custom Vinum pickups. And I have these beautiful Mankuta customs among a few others in other guitars. And I am very proud that Craig Vinum is sponsoring the show and tell guitar.
And by the time Mankuta puts those guitars, those pickups in the guitar, the magnets will be done.
Wait a second. Now we're going to start a war because now Adam is saying, Paul, I'll send you a pickup.
Thank you, Adam.
Where the fuck is my pickup, Adam? I didn't get a pickup. I'm hosting the show.
Yeah. Now we have beef.
Commercials.
Now we have beef. That's it, Adam. Yes. Feel the anger flow through you. By the way,
Adam even sent me a pickup, Mankuta.
I was hoping at some point the spirit of my Empire T-shirt would come through to the show. If you'll notice, the Emperor, a stormtrooper whose head will probably fall off the Mount Rushmore because he can't hit anything. Boba Fett and Darth Vader. I'm glad. Let your anger flow through you, John. Let it flow through you. Yes, good. Something dark side. Something complete. Thank you, Adam. Thank you for causing beef.
All right, let's finish our sponsors. I gotta get through everybody. All right, so thank you to Vinum Custom Pickups, Craig Vinum. If you want to change the sound of your guitar, go to Vinum Custom Pickups, hand wound, custom made Vinum Custom Pickups. Also,
unless of course Adam sends you a pickup before Craig sends me a pickup, then I would say FU Tone Pickups.
You know, I'm about to do a commercial for Adam. Can you let me finish this shit? Come on, I got to do the sponsors. Johnny, raise the card. I need help here.
Where are we at?
I'm up to FU Tone.
He's got 2 tonight.
FU Tone. Because he took the time to watch the show. I like when Adam.
Boy, that was the most Jewish you've ever sounded in your life.
Because he took the time to watch the show. Adam's right here. Adam's in the audience right now. He's watching the show. He's supporting our show.
Adam, we talk about you. We talk about FU Tone all the time.
We do, Adam.
All the time.
I mean, we're all playing here, but you know, I do really good commercials for you. We all talk about you. So, or anyone who sponsors our show, let me just tell you, we back up our sponsors. We big time back up our sponsors. Anyone that comes here, not fucking LaCroix. LaCroix can suck my LaCock.
This is good stuff, man.
Wow, that was. You know what LaCroix translates into?
I use
crotch, as in it tastes like a fucking. I use like Vermunda cheese.
I use it to dunk my balls in LaCroix. LaCroix sucks my balls. Anyway, so
this
Johnny,
show just got ugly.
Anyway, so you want to hot rod your guitar, you go to fu-tone.com. FU Tone, noiseless springs, brass blocks, titanium saddles, you name it. FU Tone has all the things you want to hot rod your guitar. FU Tone. And if you want the best in, ready, Johnny?
In popcorn?
Not yet. If you want the best in kill switches,
wait for it.
You go to Tessie Switch. That's right. Tessie Switch makes the most durable, wonderful kill switches for your guitar. Go to Tessie Switch's website and tell them you heard about them on Talking Guitars and 80s Metal Live. Ned likes them.
Ned loves them. You actually go to tessieswitch.com/shop and you get 15% off.
Just for knowing us. That's amazing. Thank you, Tessie Switch. And of course, our buddies, hold on. Of course, our buddies over at not Ned. There we go. Swiss Picks.
Not Ned.
Swiss Picks, maker of the greatest gripping picks out there. Swiss Picks, when you want to get a grip on your playing, go to Swiss Picks and get that. That's the nuclear cheddar. They also have the Jason Becker tribute. And we support our buddy Jason, of course.
God bless Jason Becker. God bless
Jason Becker.
The world is a better place because Jason is in it.
Sure is.
And by the way, when we were mentioned last guitar hero being Dimebag, Jason came before Dimebag, and in my opinion, Jason is a greater guitar player than Dimebag was. Jason is a phenomenal fucking player, and
they're both amazing.
They're different players, but Jason is
different. Absolutely.
Jason to me belongs up there in the same conversation with Paul Gilbert and Steve Vai. He's a phenomenal guitar player, and I can't love his playing enough. He's fucking outstanding. And God bless Jason Becker.
And a great person.
Yep.
And a great
Please,
person.
if the Becker family are watching, stop it, Johnny. If the Becker family are watching, thank you for your kindness and for everything that you do to make Jason comfortable every day. The world is a better place because he's in it.
Yeah, he deserves the best. We love Jason Becker, friend of the show.
Love him.
And of course, while you're listening to some classic Jason Becker music, you might want to be eating some delicious. Johnny, you have one job, man. You got one job.
Let him hang.
Oh my God.
Let him hang.
Oh my God. Colonel's, delicious Colonel's gourmet popcorn and more. Colonel's, the best popcorn on the planet. So delicious. Colonel's gourmet popcorn and more. That more means you have nuts, chocolate, sugar-free candies, you name it, Colonel's has it for your snacking pleasure. Go to Colonel's Gourmet and mention Johnny Beane or Jay Hannon, and you will get more product. You'll get more product. They send you more yummy, delicious Colonel's. Oh, my God. Mm-hmm. Can it get any better? Can it really?
Halen.
delicious Colonel's Gourmet Popcorn. Thank you, Colonel's, sponsor.
By the way,
Talking Guitars and 80s Metal.
I'm going to throw a little gasoline on a potential beef fire in the chat. Kurt 5150 just texted at Michael the Captain Smith and says, "Hey bro, I took your spot on Saturday. Thank you."
Whoa! There are fists flying today.
Beef.
Fists flying today. Look at this shit.
Fight.
Wow.
I kid. I'm kidding. Kurt 5150 was great on Saturday.
I have a guitar for show and tell, and then I have a ton of music news I've got to pump through.
Good luck.
So, yeah, tell me about it.
The sponsors took 20 minutes.
I know, right? Well, because it's like, come on. All right. So today's show and tell guitar is a celebrity guitar that I said was named after a movie. And ladies and gentlemen, the player is Mitch Perry. And
I love Mitch.
The movie, Johnny, if you would. Look at that thing.
I'm sure it was very nice.
That thing almost had a broken headstock.
Wow, that just happened.
Did I mention the show is live?
Holy shit, that was funny.
We need a GIF of that.
By the way, somebody put
Johnny,
that headstock.
Take the
put that headstock up near the camera. Where did that get hit?
At the headstock.
Where did it hit though? Look at the headstock. I want to see if there's a mark on it.
No, luckily it hit my knee.
Oh, holy
Johnny,
shit!
Take the snap. Take the snap.
Oh boy, that looks like Steve Lynch's guitar and autograph.
Johnny,
got it.
Okay. So,
there's
a lot of history. First of all, this is a Blade Runner. Now, here's a bit about the Blade Runner. Blade Runners were originally a guitar made in small numbers by Guild, not by BC Rich.
Right.
Guild made the Blade Runner. Steve Plunkett of Autograph saw Mitch Perry playing one. He said, "Hey, what's that?" He said, "It's a Blade Runner. Check it out. It's neat. It's got a bit of a heel, a set neck heel that's a little rough to get around, but they're really light and really cool, and they sound great and blah, blah, blah." So Steve Plunkett started playing one. Joe Perry also saw Mitch playing one, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to throw one in the Walk This Way video." So he got into the Blade Runner and played a black one, I believe. Mm-hmm. Now, Mitch wound up being a BC Rich endorsee and said, "You know what? I'm known for playing Blade Runners, but it's a Guild design, and they don't make very many of them. And now that I'm with you, what do we do about this?" They're like, "Well, we can make you like one or two just on a custom shop design, and we'll make them better because ours won't be a set neck. Ours will be a neck through. So we'll hand carve you custom Blade Runners," and they made a total of two of them. One Mitch Perry still has. This one I have. So this is BC Rich's custom shop version of a Blade Runner so that Mitch could still play these. Now, this originally was colored black and gold, and the one Mitch has is blue snakeskin. So at one point, Mitch got rid of it, and it was painted blue snakeskin to match Mitch's other one. And
sorry, I got to interrupt. A question from the executive producer, Wayno. How the hell do you drop a guitar with not one, not two, but three handles?
Yeah, I know, right? I should just kind of do this. I'll kind of do this so I don't fuck this up. It's like
you might as well just put a dog lead on it through the top ring. Yeah. Tie it to your like you should put a string around it like the key when you were 9 years old. That's a beautiful, right? Beautiful question from the executive producer.
Yeah, thank you, executive producer, for fucking
beautiful.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
So basically, both Blade Runners now, both BC Rich Blade Runners, they're hand carved, they're neck through, and they're both blue snakeskin. Mitch still has his. I have this other one of his. And take a look at this beautiful, beautiful inlays. This one has lightning bolts. I believe his has diamonds, or spearheads rather. This one has lightning bolts on the inlays. Look at that beautiful blue snakeskin. It's got an EMG pickup.
Now, is it carbon fiber?
No, this is wood. This is regular alder, I believe. I think this one was made of. And yeah, the Blade Runners are known basically to be pretty light and versatile because
clearly,
obviously you have half the guitar cut out of it, and it's more of a design thing. But it actually plays really nice. I mean, this one at least. I talked to Mitch about this, and he said, "Here's the thing: they made about 90-something Guild Blade Runners, but that squared off heel, it always got in the way. This plays incredible, and that's why I held on to mine." And that's the deal. I mean, basically, BC Rich Custom Shop at one time would make you anything. And if you were an endorsee and just wanted one or two, of course, they'd bend the rules a little bit, make you another brand's guitar, but they made it better. They improved on the design. And this thing's solid as a rock. Yes, that's right, Ace. You have a matching headstock with a dual logo. This was carved about 1983 or 84.
And it was chipped about 7 minutes ago.
Yeah, no. Luckily, it hit my knee because the nightstand is right next to me. So luckily,
your knee sounds like wood hitting pressed wood.
Clang!
Oh,
it's that wooden leg I have. Neck through in the back. Look how comfy this heel. Look how deep you can get into those upper frets because of
24 frets.
Nice smooth. Yeah, nice. Well, let's see. 12, 15, 17, 19, 20. Yeah, 24. Yes, sir. And of course, obviously needs a custom case for it.
You could put that in an Explorer case. Wouldn't that fit? No, the angle on the bottom is too sharp.
It's a real weird angle. This case is specifically cut for it, which is great. I'm really glad it has a form-fitting factory case still.
Yeah, you put it in an Explorer case, and then you put some padding, extra sponge in there to fill in because it should fit that angle.
Yeah, and obviously you could do the whole gem thing and whatnot. But again, there's two of these. And when you talk BC Rich guitars, you think of rare BC Riches. You say, okay, they made a certain amount of stealths. They made a certain amount of waves. There's two of these. There's two. And they were made for a pro player. So, when you're talking rare, you don't get rarer than that.
Well, yes, you do. One,
yeah, sure.
Sorry, that's how they do math up in Canada.
Well, it's the metric system. It confuses me.
Yes, it does that. Yeah,
it's nice.
Mitch is one of those guys that I don't think gets any run as a great player because he's always been sort of a replacement sideman sort of guy. But between Heaven and Steeler, and he did some work with Lita Ford a few years ago. He was
MSG.
Yeah, he's Mitch
solo his solo stuff.
Yeah, Mitch is a pretty good guitar. I don't want to say pretty good. He's a very good guitar player. Who, if you've never dug out on his stuff, just dig out some of the. He was a replacement guitar player for Yngwie in Steeler, and he was in Heaven, the Australian band that does the better version of Knocking on Heaven's Door than Guns N' Roses. And it's just an all around good dude. He's one of those good dudes that you come across and you go, hey, man, just a good dude. And I don't know that Mitch has ever gotten the proper credit for being as good as he is as a human being or as a player. So that's a cool guitar.
Yeah, it's real neat. And like I said, I came into at one point Mitch sold it to
and Talus. Jesus Christ, how could I forget that?
Oh, Talus also.
Yeah.
Mitch sold some of his guitars at one point to a rising guitarist that was in a band called Dry Cell in the early 90s, and they had some little success with some soundtracks. They were on a Interview with the Vampire soundtrack. They had a song, and a couple of others. They had a full album, and basically Dry Cell had a couple of guitars of Mitch's that at one point I bought those guitars, and this is one of them. And I spoke to Mitch about him, and he told me the full story. He's like, yeah, I mean, here's how this was made, and here's, what Bernie Rico did for me, and here's why I have this one, and this one was on my album cover and whatever. And he was astonished that he's like, there's two of them. He's like, it's you and me, kiddo, and there they are. So enjoy today, BC Rich Blade Runner, one of two. And thank you, Mitch Perry, for the background info on it. And thank you for the player of Dry Cell to take good care of it. There you go. Let's see if we got any questions in the chat. Mankuta, you're a moron. Don't drop your guitars. Mankuta, stop dropping guitars. Mankuta, why are you breaking guitars?
Yep. Yep. Dummy.
Adam F. Utone, I'm pulling my sponsorship because Mankuta keeps dropping guitars.
Hellstorm
Craig
says
Vonham,
Mitch is
I'm
still
dropping
with
my
Lita.
sponsorship. Suspects, I'm dropping my sponsorship. Mankuta drops guitar. Bang Energy dropping sponsorship. Everyone's dropping sponsorship. By the way,
do we have it? Do we have it in slow motion?
Oh shit! Here we go.
Here it comes.
No.
Let's go to the tape. All we need is John Madden. Let's watch this thing with confidence. Look how he grabs the guitar with confidence, and then at just the right moment, there it is. Brings the finger. See the finger grip? Not the best grip you could possibly.
Not a good move.
And then it goes underneath the neck. Watch this. He goes underneath. See how he's got the neck up on the edge of the finger? A little too far. A little bit. Oh! You know what? I haven't seen a look like that since Jackie Kennedy was in a limousine in Dallas, Texas.
Oh my God!
Oh, Paulie, too soon.
Go back and fucking isolate on those eyes. Holy shit! He looked like the wolf in a Tex Avery cartoon.
Holy fuck!
Oh, that was awesome! Look at the look on his fucking eyes.
And half our audience just spit out their beer through their nose.
Shit.
Here comes today's show and tell guitar.
You can see it too. I'm watching the finger, and I see you with the finger on the neck, and you're bringing it up underneath to try and show off the neck. And I saw it coming. I'm like, oh shit!
It's like thunder. It's like Thunderdome with me and the guitar.
Look at this finger.
Leaves.
Watch the finger. There it is. The move. Hey everybody, look at this. Look at this.
Of course, I'm all
underneath.
cocky.
Uh-oh!
I'm cocky. I give
And
my
the eye.
tagline.
Oh no! Thumbnail.
No! Fucking Darth Vader's yelling it. No!
Holy shit! Right there was, what does a heart attack look like?
Right now, Mitch Perry was watching the video. He says, "There's only two up. There's only one. There's only one."
Oh my God!
Much like Highlander, there can be only one.
Holy shit! That look is fucking fantastic.
that is
so good.
I know I'm gonna win a Moment of the Year award for this one.
That's an avatar, is what that is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. If that's not a fucking gift, baby.
You know what that is? Go back to that again. Go back to that again, because that is Joe Piscopo showing Buckwheat being shot on Saturday Night Live. We repeat once again, Buckwheat has been shot.
Dead. Buckwheat is dead.
Let's go to the tape.
Hello,
everybody. Buckwheat, yes. Mr. Wheat, yes. Holy shit!
Oh,
that needs to be a GIF, and everybody needs to post that in the chat every time Mankuta's name is mentioned.
Somebody make me a GIF and send it to my
Holy
Facebook,
shit!
please.
I've been saying that for months to make GIFs.
You know what to do, Cobra Kai platoon. You know what to do.
Cobra Kai is going to make my newest T-shirt design. Mankuta guitar repair.
You know what the funny thing about it? There's a brief moment there where you open your mouth like you're at a glory hole. Go back, Johnny. Go back a little bit. Right as the guitar leaves his hand, watch his mouth open like he's like, oh, this is where the cock comes from.
This is like one of those Super Bowl plays that everyone has to like watch 5, 6, 7 times.
Oh yeah. This is where Napoleon
from different angles.
Knee goes the wrong way. Holy shit!
Today's show and tell guitar. Look at that thing! No,
Mr. Wheat, I love you. Holy
fuck!
Oh, that is so bad. Oh,
let's go to the Mankuta tape. Yeah,
Mr. Wheat,
please.
Mr. Wheat,
somebody please send that gift to my Facebook.
When he drops,
absolutely.
Oh my God!
No.
your mouth opens like you're ready for the penis, and then your eyes bulge out like the penis went in the wrong opening.
Holy
oh my God, that was awful in the best way.
Darth Vader didn't scream no as loud as I did at that moment.
That was as good as it gets right there. That was the Zapruder film. That was going frame by frame.
Oh, Cobra Kai Platoon, you have your mission, my friend.
Watch right here.
No.
Watch when the minute the guitar leaves his hand. The minute the guitar leaves his hand, you open your mouth like you're ready to accept a penis.
I'm not sure. That thing.
Here goes the finger. It starts to curl underneath the neck. Ooh. Watch. Right there.
Cock. Oh, if anything from this show is gonna go viral, it's gonna be this.
Hey, Adam, why don't you can you send Mankuta a new guitar headstock? You guys do replacement headstocks for assholes that drop their guitars?
Oh,
holy
man.
Shit, that is so good.
This is like the Hindenburg. Oh, the humanity. Oh, the humanity.
Here's the deal. It's 8:02. We don't have time for news, so we'd like to apologize to Matt Damon.
Holy shit.
Oh, that was fucking outstanding.
Wow.
Yep, so much for getting to your news.
Wow.
I gotta jump out because Lemmy just farted and I think we're close to having birth. The contractions are starting.
Oh, wow.
That is so good.
Holy shit. That needs to go viral. I could watch that 1,000 times, even though it's my guitar.
And you will.
I have a feeling this is going to be on every guitar page ever.
That is so good.
Yeah, here's the host of Talking Guitars and 80s
Watch
Metal.
That. Oh, when the finger, I can see it happening. The finger, I'm
Holy
like,
shit.
John, don't pull your finger that far. But oh boy.
No.
If only you had a little bit of semen on your hand, it could have stuck that thing. It would have been a nice adhesive.
You know what's really funny? Could you imagine if in slow motion the headstock cracked off and bounced across the screen?
I don't want to say I wish the headstock had broken because that's just awful. But that's the only thing that could have made that better was if the headstock had split and spun behind your head.
The Lord has given me 10
right,
10 commandments.
Yes, 10 for a beautiful history of the world reference. All right. I got to go.
Holy shit. All right.
Good job, John.
The great Neanderthal, everybody. Thank you. Oh, Jesus. No. There's a moment where you see my eyes first light up, Johnny. That should be like a t-shirt design, right? I mean, right there is great. But like the first moment that you see, I acknowledge it slipping out of my hands. That first moment that you see, my eyes suddenly like pop out of my fucking skull, like on springs. Oh, no! Right now, every celebrity that watches this show is calling me, leaving voicemails. Mankuta, I want my guitar back. I have messages from Lynch and Tracy Guns and Mark Kendall and CC DeVille. Everyone's Tony McAlpine. All these messages are coming in. Steve Vai, give me back my guitar. You're not worthy. You can't even hold the fucking thing, much less play it well. Wow. Holy shit. This is incredible. Wow. How many people shit their pants or spit milk through their nose during that moment? Wow. No. Right there, Johnny. Right there. Look at that face right there. Look at that. Oh. Like I just came and forgot to pull out.
Bye, Janice.
Holy shit. Good night, Janice. Holy shit. Wow.
I've been saying for at least a few months that you guys should be making GIFs of this show, and this is a perfect example.
This is the one. Listen, this is the one to do it of, kids. I'm sure this is I'm sure this one is going to be banning me from every guitar show coming up. Every store that I say, hey, can I try that 55 gold top? No. I saw that video, Mankuta. You're the pink Butterfingers. Holy shit. That's fucking awesome. Music Therapy Laz chicken soup just came out of my nose.
Oh,
Wow. Yeah, Mike Neese, he'll never touch another guitar at Nesdall's place. You know what's really funny? I'm going to go to a guitar show soon, and I know everyone's going to say, don't let that guy touch your fucking 59 Burst. That's the guy from the video. Yeah, Keith Campbell says, and you change your own strings? You want me to you want me to change my string? I'll send a fucking Floyd flying across the room. Oh no.
there's the link. Go to giphy.com/channel/Johnny Beane. Tag Johnny Beane TV in your GIF that you make from this. All you got to do, you create an account. It's free to do. Giphy.com. Take the copy the link to this video, post it into there. You can scroll right to this part.
Wow.
So.
And I mean wow. Holy shit. Johnny, can I bang out these news stories at Mach 1?
Yes.
All right, because there's a lot to tell. I'm gonna do it as fast as I can so we can get on the road. Starting with LA Guns, my dear friend Tracy Guns. New album for LA Guns called Checkered Past, due November 12th. LA Guns has been putting out such good products since 2019. Well, they've been putting out such good products since the 80s, but they've started again putting out consistent product is what I meant. Since 2019. Now you have Checkered Past coming out, and Tracy Guns already this year put out Sunbomb with Michael Sweet, which was also excellent. 2019, LA Guns put out The Devil You Know. The new album, Checkered Past, check it out November 12th. Go on YouTube, listen to the new single, Knock Me Down. It's fucking terrific. And again, of course, Frontiers Music is who backs up LA Guns. They are fucking excellent. And get this, Tracy is right now, he's the hardest working man in show business. He is doing a new album with Jack Russell, formerly of Great White, now of Jack Russell's Great White. Tracy and him have teamed up to do an album. He's laying out guitar tracks this week. He had on his Facebook, and that's really amazing. So we're looking forward to all of Tracy Guns' work, including the new LA Guns. Get a copy of Checkered Past. Listen to the new single, Knock Me Down. Very, very cool stuff. Second, Lori Tucker, that you saw on Saturday Night Live here, the girl from the Hot for Teacher Van Halen video, one of the greatest videos ever, also appeared this weekend on Halenville with my buddy Fruitcake Tony and a couple of other guys. And thank you, Lori Tucker, for popping on our channel. We really appreciate that. If you haven't checked it out, check those two shows out, this last Saturday Night Live and Halenville.
There'll be a card on the top.
There will be a card on the top. Let's see. David Crosby, no, fuck him. Megadeth's new touring bassist announced is James Lomenzo. For those who remember James Lomenzo, who was with Megadeth from 2006 to 2010, but he is the new touring guitarist with the band as they tour on, but there is still no word of who the mystery bass player was that played on the new album. It will be revealed soon, but it was not James Lomenzo. So check out the new Megadeth when it comes out. It's being produced now. Wolfgang Van Halen, his Denver shows canceled, his Whiskey show rescheduled to August. That was August 18th, rescheduled to October 12th. And that's because one of his crew has COVID and he wants to be cautious. He's isolating. A bunch of his bandmates are isolating. He says, I'm vaxxed, but look, I'm a singer. I can't afford to get a respiratory illness, not even one, that's reduced by the vaccine. So I'm rescheduling shows. So Wolfgang Van Halen, his Denver shows will be taking place with Guns N' Roses, will be taken place by the Velveteers. So Wolfgang is not with Guns N' Roses in Denver, but a Denver band called the Velveteers will be taking Wolfgang's place. Wolfgang will not be at the Whiskey August 18th, but he's rescheduling for August 20th. And by the way, speaking of the Whiskey, quick apology out to Caleb of Nerd Halen. Jay Hannon's right. I do not pay attention when people are playing in my area. So I'm sorry I did not show up at your show. I didn't even know that you guys were playing, but I will try to keep an ear out. Just let me know. Just drop me a message. Hey, Mankuta, we're playing in your area. When you stop down on the show, I put you at the door or whatever. Just let me know. Let me know because I love Nerd Halen. So I want to support you guys. Just giving a shout out to Caleb and Nerd Halen. Anthrax's tour starting in Europe. September 27th of 2022 in Birmingham, England. They're playing 28 dates in 16 countries. Wrapping it up November 5th, 2022 in Zurich, Switzerland. So if you're in Europe, treat for you. You have Anthrax coming to you in late 2022. Kiss, we talked about earlier. They have a Las Vegas residency. This is their second one. They're going to be at the Zappos Theater, which is Planet Hollywood. Let's see. As you know, David Lee Roth is off the tour. It's going to be painter David Garibaldi. I don't see where the connection is, but hey, enjoy your painting. He's pretty cool, but like I said, just, I don't know. It seems like a fish out of water in that show, but enjoy it. He's very cool. They're doing 12 shows between December 29th and February 5th, including a New Year's Eve show. So man, I wish I was going to that. That sounds very cool. What a great way to spend New Year's Eve, right? With Kiss. But yeah. David Lee Roth is
here.
Or here. Yeah, that's right. Or here. Johnny's like, yeah, Mankuta. No one sent Mankuta tickets to that show. He's going to be right the fuck here like every year, counting down the new year on this show. That's right. Okay. But someone go in my place because that's very cool. Kiss having another Vegas residency. Judas Priest on their 50th anniversary tour. They were just doing Bloodstock in the UK on Sunday. And let me tell you something. They sound fucking great. They sound great. Rob Halford is really, really in top shape. He's really sounding good. He's taking care of his voice clearly. And surprise, at Bloodstock, Glenn Tipton made a guest appearance on stage for a couple of songs. And that was really cool. There are videos of it online on YouTube. Check it out. Watch that because that's really cool to see Judas Priest. 50 fucking years and they're producing that quality of music. God bless you guys. You're fucking terrific. So let's see the opening act for them. If you get to see them in their 50th anniversary tour across the States, it's going to be Sabaton, Sabaton. I think it's pronounced Sabaton. If you're not familiar with Sabaton, they're a Swedish band. They're very cool, like a progressive metal, kind of like Savatage. Check out the song Defense of Moscow or The Last Stand or Bismarck. They have some really good songs, Sabaton, so check them out. And let's see, the 50th anniversary tour in the States is going to be starting September 8th in Reading, Pennsylvania, and wrapping up November 5th in, it's actually North American tour. Hamilton, Ontario is where it's wrapping up. So you're going to get entire North American continent they're crossing. So if you could see Judas Priest, I highly, highly recommend it. Matt Sorum, his new book, Double Talk and Jive, is coming out September 7th. Matt Sorum, of course, famous for Guns N' Roses, as well as The Cult and Velvet Revolver. He took Steven Adler's place in the original lineup, did Use Your Illusion 1, Use Your Illusion 2, Spaghetti Incident. He wrote an autobiography. And it's supposed to be a lot about the business and a lot of behind the scenes of Guns N' Roses. Should be very, very cool. Check that out. It's called Matt Sorum, Double Talk and Jive. September 7th it comes out. Someone get me a copy, please. Let's see. KK Downing is doing KK's Priest. The new album, let's see, Sermons of the Sinner comes out October 1st. And it's going to have Tim Ripper Owens singing and AJ Mills on guitar. And should be good. Should be good. Again, this is like, basically who's left over from that was once in Judas Priest at one time. But they're good. They're good stuff. And I think it'll be a good album. Looking forward to that October 1st. And he sends a message to everyone. He hopes the metal genre will continue with a lot of young guys forming new metal bands and keeping the dream alive, just keeping the genre alive, which is a really good message. And a lot of European bands are doing that, guys like Heat and Crazy Licks and, all the new younger bands. So Vince Neil, well, he played 2 solo shows in Indiana and Missouri, and he looks like, Johnny, I think you have a title card of what he looks like because he's wearing the same outfit too. He looks like
our buddy John B.L.
Yeah, minus the handsome head. He's still built like that. And he was wearing the same type of outfit with the shirt that shows he looks pregnant. I don't know what the deal with Vince is. I don't know why he can't work out and lose the weight. And he got through the set. And it's, to be fair, it's hard to tell some of the quality of some of the audio on those recordings, but I could tell he's still not in form, and he's overweight, and he's got to fucking shape up. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe they'll replace him with a hologram on the stadium tour. But Vince, if someone from his camp, come on, man, we see you're still fat. I mean, we know you were singing Dr. Feelgood like, oh goddamn, that meal was good. Yeah, we know that. So someone tell Vince Neil to lose some weight. Shut up, David Crosby. Look, I'm not trying to body shame Vince Neil. Fact is, you're getting paid millions of dollars to be in a shape that's conducive to you doing a fucking major tour.
Another shape.
Not a circle, not a gourd. You got to lose the weight and you got to take vocal lessons. And for fuck's sakes, get a teleprompter if that helps you learn the words. Yeah. And Keith Campbell says about Rob Halford, Evil Santa. Yeah, that white beard, man. I don't know what the deal with it is. Braided or something, Rob. It makes you look older than you are, man. But at least he's still singing. Vince, look, man, I love you, but you got to get in shape. The fans are counting on you, please. Shifting on, Ozzy Osbourne. New album in production. He laid down 15 tracks with Andrew Watt, who was on his last one. And, Zakk Wylde will be the touring guitarist, but he's not on the album. Same as on the last album. He's not going to be on the album. Now, when you say touring guitarist, wait a minute. Ozzy Osbourne touring. Yeah, if 2022 COVID subsides, Ozzy says he's going to go on tour. Now, I don't know what the COVID situation is going to be. We don't know what the world is going to bring. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what is making Ozzy Osbourne say, I want to tour. The guy has Parkinson's. He's shaking. I want the guy healthy. I care about Ozzy Osbourne. I am sure that Sharon, now that she's off the talk, which is a talk show she used to be on and she got kicked off, Ozzy's the breadwinner again. And I'm sure she's still shopping online and saying, you've got to get out there. But I've got Parkinson's and I don't feel good. And I retired already. I don't want to tour anymore. You get on out there, get into the studio, record, and then go on tour again. Zach will go with you and hold you up. But I really don't want to get out there, Ozzy. That's probably what's going on. I don't want Ozzy to tour again. And let me put this in perspective. I love Ozzy Osbourne. I care about him. I want him healthy. I don't want him getting stressed out, strained, and it might be too much for him. And look, if a doctor says, okay, Ozzy, you're healthy to tour, God bless him. I want him to be happy. But I have a feeling it's just Sharon lighting a fire under his ass. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think so. Because, come on, the guy's got Parkinson's. He should be going to Switzerland and getting treated for that. To see him on tour again, I don't know what the fuck. But I hope Ozzy's healthy. But he's got a new album in production. Andrew Watt as guitar. And if they tour, Zakk Wylde will be the touring guitarist. So cross your fingers. I'm sure the new album will be good. The last one was great. And let's see. George Lynch also in the news. In 2018, George has revealed that he was offered a slot in Rat. George was offered to take Warren DeMartini's place in 2018 when Warren left the band again. And, it's an interesting thing because he hasn't talked about that much. I didn't ever hear about it before now. But, George and Warren do play similar in similar tones and styles. And George does write songs just like Warren. And it might have been very interesting. But the problem was Rat as a group said, we want to have you as a hired gun. We're going to pay you a salary and you won't be a full member of the band. And George is like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm sorry. I'm just as good as Warren in this. If you bring me in as a member of the band, I'll consider it. And then I'll write songs and I'll play tours or whatever. But I'm not someone's hired gun. I'm George Lynch. I'm good enough to be a member of Rat, which is, similar to Dokken in popularity. And that's why it didn't happen. But I thought it was very interesting that George was offered that. George, keep in mind, George was almost Ozzy's guitarist. He was almost in Rat. He was almost here, and he works with everybody. Him and Michael Sweet, and him and it was just an interesting piece of information I never heard before. I thought it was interesting. George Lynch's new album, Seamless, his new instrumental CD, comes out August 20th. And listen, get the hard CD. Don't just download it because George has made it very clear there are 3 specific tracks on there that are on the CD that are not on the streaming downloads. So you can only get those if you buy the hard CD. And he says they're pretty major songs. So highly recommend. I always get the CD of an artist I like anyway. I always like to back them up like that. So August 20th,
yeah. Same here.
Get the new CD from George Lynch. And he said a funny little thing. He says, when I'm in Starbucks, I like to fuck with them. Sometimes I put fake names. I give them fake names. He's like, the latest one I did was Spartacus because I just liked hearing the guy call Spartacus through Starbucks. He says, I keep mixing it up, but Spartacus was a favorite. So God bless George Lynch. And again, another album you probably shouldn't miss. So there you go. A lot of stuff to pick up. A lot of good new music. Think about all the bands I just named with new albums coming out and new tours. This is a great time for metal coming back, except for the fact of COVID. So I'm going to say it again. Get the fucking vaccine so we could all get back to normal and see all these guys live. They're canceling shows left and right. So please make that choice. I think everyone should make that choice. I hope you do. I want all our audience safe. And that's the news. All the news that's fit to print.
Nice.
As fast as I could bang that out.
Awesome. Speaking of Bang Energy.
Delicious Bang Energy drink. Thank you, Bang Energy drink. Way better than LaCroix. Fuck.
Oh,
LaCroix is the David Crosby of drinks.
LaCrosby.
Cobra Kai platoon. Don't miss that opportunity. LaCrosby. David Crosby for LaCroix. LaCrosby. Let's see things in the chat real quick. Alice Martinez says, I'm going to use Ozzy at Starbucks. Yostinator says, can you imagine Warren D. Martini and George Lynch in the same band? Mike Neese, George Lynch isn't going to settle for second fiddle. I don't blame him, man. What do you guys think of Ozzy going out on the road? Won a final show with original lineup. What is the original lineup? Are you talking Sabbath? I mean, they did that already. Vince Neil looks like he's in liver failure. He looks like he's in a bowl of chopped liver with onions. The guy can't stop eating. Stop it, Vince.
Wow.
Anyway, let's give thanks to our beloved channel members because we really appreciate you. We appreciate you spending time with us. We appreciate you watching the show. Please leave a thumbs up on the video. Take a minute. Let's thank you, Charles Green, Fruitcake Tony, Michael, the Captain Smith, David Ennis, Mike Neese, Richard Poole, Linny Lou, and my little sex kitten, Mary, Gargets Entertainment, Kurt 5150, Susan Silvestri, Mickey Settlemeyer, Joe Christian, Nicole Mrazek, Sean Bolland, Wayno, Stephen Franklin, Will Starr, R. Habs, KXM Rock, David Shea Gormley, and Mrs. Gormley, Bo Zeke, Crazy Cook 678, Carol Hatcher, False Flag. Isn't that you, Johnny? Margaret Scranton, Sean Silas, Trevor Burnson, Jarhead Rock, and Hal Face, John Moronic, James Gum, Hillary Lewis, Jim Nicholas, 802 Blues, Mr. BHB Jr., that's Bruce, Frag 5150, Pal Guitars, Dan Halen, Frank Corcoran, Ben Tom, Jeff T, R2R3, Locking Nut, Fernando Riley, Robot Master Switch, 6 Chicks 71, Rick Green, The Chad, 2 Brain Cells, G-Man, Michael B, Thomas Santiago, Voodoo Child SJ, it's my buddy Sean Johnson, Brian Spalding, Fender Guru, Music Therapy, Laz, thank you, brother. Ghost BC Rich, 5150 TV, Jimmy Ray Hawkins, Hugh Caldwell, David Crosby's a dildo fucker. I'm not. You are so. Jesus Rapes Me, Randy Price, James S, 5150, Christopher Live, Sawa, Laguna Palms, Murphy, Steve Barton, All Dave, All Night, Tuba, Simon Hosford, Majestic PBJ and Cat, and birthday boy, Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael, happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday, man. And again, thank you to all our sponsors. Thank you especially to our audience. Really, really appreciate you. We really do. And thank you. Please be safe. Wear your mask. Get vaccinated. This isn't about politics. This is about health. I want everyone safe. And I'm tired of seeing everyone sick. And, you know, we've lost people. So please just be kind to each other. Be safe. Be respectful. And again, leave comments in the video. This should be a good one, especially with me dropping that guitar. Leave comments. Leave thumbs up on the video, please. And we will see you next time talking guitars and 80s metal live. Rock on, everybody. We love you.
Good night, everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and then the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day.
Good night, Blue Rhino. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Daddy, you're a boy. Expect to see a lot of parodies from this episode. Don't disappoint me, everyone. No.